What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching Tru Heel Heat. Who better? Nobody. What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat. What's up? Tru Heel Heat. All hands on me. Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at Tru Heel Heat. Yeah!
It's another week, and you know what that means. In the year 2023, we're going to be either talking about Vince McMahon or CM Punk. Checks notes. It's CM Punk this week. CM Punk causing a whole bunch of drama, having a fallout with AEW, removed from the graphic for the announcement for AEW Collision. Plus, it was a great week in wrestling with AEW Dynamite. That Collision news. Is Ace Steel going to be back in AEW? God only knows. Remember to bite your co-workers because that's the best way to get your job back. It's Tru Heel Heat 226. Let's get to it. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for Tru Heel Heat 226. And yes, we are here to discuss some CM Punk news. And this week's title is Punk Steel Breaking Point. Yes, love these titles. Discussing the latest wrestling news, including CM Punk and AEW having a falling out over Ace Steel's status with the company, AEW Collision announced, and a proposed brand split. Recap of this week in wrestling with AEW Dynamite featuring the Elite becoming complete with the return of Hangman Adam Page, Rampage, WWE Smackdown, Raw, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Best of Super Juniors 30, ROH TV, Impact on Access TV, the co-host match of the week, and predictions for Impact Under Siege. Of course, she is back after a week off, the Roman Reigns of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, Miss Krssi Luv.
I was working, friends. I was not off. I was a chaperone. I still had to work. Like, that's not an easy task. Hello. Good morning, everybody. The chaperone is back. How is everyone? Happy Saturday. We have shitty weather in New York City, but hey, it's Saturday. Good morning. Missed you all.
Yes, we're happy you're here with us, Miss Krssi Luv. And we got two special guests with us off the bat here. So happy to have a new guest and a familiar guest joining us this morning here. First up, we got the good brother who came in last minute like the pitch hitter, and he's about to hit a home run. First time on the podcast. I think I asked him to be on here like a year ago. He is the Charlie's Angels of wrestling media because you can only hear his voice, so he's great for the podcast audio listeners. He's a great writer over at Bleacher Report, some amazing interviews as well with talent from all across the wrestling sphere, and occasional podcast guests like this one right here. He is Doc Chris Mueller. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us.
Welcome.
Wow, thank you for that intro. I'm not sure how to follow that. That was so energetic.
try my best. That's what I'm here for. And that's why our other guest came, because he loves my introductions for him so much. You hear him as the voice over at Fightful Select for the Weekender podcaster, where probably the most knowledgeable person when it comes to independent wrestling, co-host of the Spotlight on Fightful, and the Spinner Mason to my Jimmy Brooks, even though we probably didn't rank them high enough for him on our Degrassi friendship ranking. It is Steven Jensen.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me back, y'all. Good to hear you again, Chris. Hope you're doing well, man. And anyone who missed it, me and SP3 were just talking about Degrassi over on Fightful Overbooked, and he invited me on to jump on here for a few minutes with y'all. So appreciate y'all having me on.
Yes, appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate everyone who is joining us in the live chat with us live, or even if you're watching us on demand. Remember to drop the thumbs up on the video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here, and of course, sound off in the live chat. If you are feeling generous, you could send a super chat donation. That is the best way to have your comment highlighted on screen, even though we'll try to highlight as many comments as possible during the show. We got Oro Supremacy saying, what's up, guys? We got the Negro Bug Nick Jackson, who was over in the live chat for our Degrassi tier list in the chat here, saying, what's up, everyone? It's Sunday morning somewhere. It's Saturday morning here. You know what that means. Time for Tru Heel Heat, baby. He said, you're a busy man, SP3. Love the Degrassi Dude stream you just had with Jensen. Yeah, go over and check that out. I think we did an excellent job. I almost thought me and Jensen were going to get into an argument over Manny and Emma's placement, but I'm glad the rewatches helped.
Yeah, no, our contention is really more so on like the later, like the season 14 friendships and stuff like that. But that has nothing to do with anything anyone wants to hear about here, except for maybe a few people here in the chat. But
I was going to say, Krssi, do you know anything about what they're talking about? Because I am in the dark here.
No, you see, I don't answer. I don't pay attention. You'll notice that when those things happen, I just let them just speak, and then I speak when I need to speak.
Yeah, it's funny because we're getting like Degrassi comments here. The people, Manny and Emma are number one.
I've never watched not one episode, and SP is always like, "Are you kidding me?" And all I know that Drake was on there allegedly.
I was just gonna say that's the show Drake got shot on, right?
Yeah, it is.
I know he was in a wheelchair, and that's it. I wasn't watching Nickelodeon at that time, so I was
literally all I know about that show.
It was Noggin, the end, not Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Teen Nick. Yeah,
Teen Nick.
There you go. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was a Teen Nick kid, but I didn't see that show. Sorry. I'm old, but I ain't that old.
We got
I might be a little older than all of you based on this conversation.
Just a little bit. You're 16 at heart. It's okay. We're all 16 at heart, especially if you.
I'm about to say a big part of this is like I'm probably older than y'all think. I'm just super immature. So.
Well, okay, that also covers my ground. So.
Yeah.
Hey, I turned 35 this week, so I
turned 35 on Monday, man. I feel you. We're all in the same boat here, man.
I turned 40 in August, so you're all children to me.
That's not true, friend. I'm right behind you. I just turned 39 last month, so yeah.
There you go.
Well, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you, guys.
You don't look it though. Neither does.
I know that's right. It's crack. It ain't cracking yet, so we still good.
Exactly. We got Negro Buck still showing us love for our stream. I love it. I appreciate that, man.
Was it that good for us to go back and watch the Degrassi people? Like
yes. Yes, it's 14 seasons.
It's not going to 14 seasons. Yeah, we're
14 seasons. You could enjoy it for months on end.
Man, even Saved by the Bell knew not to overstay its welcome that long.
Well, no, technically it did. Yeah, I know.
No, it did because it had the college years. Then it had like when they got married. Then they had the movies.
The new class.
Yeah,
the new class had more episodes than the original series did. We found that out when me and SP3 were. I mean, that was around forever. No one even knew.
Did anybody watch Hang Time?
Yes, I love Hang Time with Anthony Anderson.
Yo, oh my god,
I forgot all about that. I remember there was some show called, I think, California Dreams that they tried
I
to,
watched
like,
that too.
Yeah.
I watched that too.
Yeah.
Now, see, now we
That
can
too.
talk, SP. See, now that we can talk. I can talk about a low show on
This
Saturday
is basically
mornings. Hello.
what we would have been watching like 25 years ago, all of us, when
At
we
this
were
time.
that age, at this
Yeah.
time. 25 years ago.
Literally at this time. Yeah, because Hang Time came on at 11. Yep.
And City
remember.
guys, don't forget CITY. You can see why these guys, the new guys, smart as
City
streetwise.
guy.
CITY. You go on. You don't know about that. Come on, y'all. Oh man, yeah. I'm
See,
showing
we could
my
do
age.
these
I'm sorry.
we could do these 90s episodes real. It just flows off the tongue like it's nothing, friends.
I was gonna say, we start talking about salute your shorts, we might not get out of here.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't get
yeah,
me
100%.
started there.
100%.
Sputnik?
That
Come on.
old Nickelodeon lineup of like, hey dude,
Yes.
salute
Oh,
your
yeah.
shorts, my
Me and
brother
Jensen,
and me.
I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
did a
All
tier
these-
list off Nickelodeon shows.
Oh
We
my
have.
God.
I believe we have. I
And
know
then
we
you had the
talk about it
Sunday
all the time.
afternoon shows too. Like, okay, for me, like I was a church kid, so we came after church. We had got to watch like the Legends of the Hidden Tunnel. We had to watch Double
Yeah,
Dare.
Temple, yeah.
Oh, Temple, thank you. That you know what I meant.
You're okay. You're
friend.
They
welcome.
just
We
brought that
understand. We know,
back. They just
See,
brought
with-
that back.
Did
Really?
they bring it
Yeah,
back?
and-
And, I was gonna ask, is it kids or adults competing?
I believe it's
They
kids
should do
again,
both.
and
Like,
it's
I
the
would love to
same.
go on that
It's
show. I'd
the
probably
same
lose.
dude who did Olmec's voice in the original, doing it again. Tom
Nice.
Kenny, I think, right?
Nice. Is Kirk
Awesome.
Fogg still the host?
Oh, I'm not sure who the host.
Man,
is.
Kirk Fogg used to come down on that rope. He's so
Yeah.
cool.
All I know is they better have told the new Temple guards not to be so handsy with.
Yeah,
those
that was
kids.
a little weird. Now when you
There
look
are
back on
so
it, yeah.
many just
Cringy.
kind of bad, gross clips out there.
Oh Jesus!
I never
Oh,
thought
Jesus.
about that, but I mean, well,
Yeah.
that would have been. I remember thinking it would have been terrifying for like a grown man, like pretty much a half naked grown dude in paint popping out of a wall. I'm just like, I'd be terrified.
Listen though,
Like-
like that show was all well and good, but we all wanted a piece of the aggro crag from Guts, right?
That's
mean-
literally
that-
the top prize, a glowing piece of the Radical Rock.
I
Yeah.
almost bought one on eBay like 15 years ago.
I was literally gonna bring up Guts. I was like, do you have it? That was my show. Guts. I wanted to be on Guts I wanted to be on Guts and Double Dare as a kid.
Double Dare.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That
Going
was
there
my
with
thing.
like my mom or like one of my sibling, and we would probably like not win, but still like have a good time and get like slimed. It would have been great. Yeah.
See, what I was gonna say about like, I think Uncle Nicky Boy Bebop said, and I don't know if this is true or not. He said, I think the new version of the show is with adults. What the only reason I asked that is because like that's what they should do. Like if they're gonna reboot these old shows, they should let people like our age who grew up watching it, who always wanted a glowing piece of the Radical Rock, to actually be able to do the aggro crag in our 30s.
Oh my god.
Like
Bring back
that's-
Nick Arcade.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Go on Nick Arcade.
Yeah, well, I mean that's basically Twitch now. It's like real time Nick
Right.
Arcade. So like,
No,
but if you but no, to get like
get
this us in there
Jordy
playing
Fork in there
playing
again.
cabinets. Yeah. Oh, dude, dude, I'm with you. That'd be.
Remember
That'd be-
watching that show as a kid and getting so mad at those kids for not being able to collect
Yes,
20
yes.
rings and Sonic
Yep.
the Hedgehog being
Yes.
like, you were terrible.
Yeah.
But
You
how
never
did
played
you
a Sega
miss that?
Genesis.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, they should have let me be on that show. I would have been
Right?
so much better.
I used to always say that, and we got Nero Bug saying "Figure It Out" was great too. That was another
Yes.
one. I
Summer
wanted to be on.
Sanders, go.
Yes, Summer Sanders and Pete.
Yes.
Little Pete used to be always on that show.
Yes,
Danny
And,
Tamborelli.
Yes,
Lori
yes,
Beth,
yes.
Lori Beth was
Lori
always on
Beth.
there too.
Larry
Yep.
Denver. Dude, she made a
Alright.
random appearance on Workaholics like years
Really?
ago. Oh my god, it was so
She
funny.
popped up in something else I saw too, and I didn't know who it was, but I like there was that little hint of recognition. Then when I saw her name in the credits, I was like, holy shit.
Dude,
I
it
remember
was-
when she popped up on the latter seasons of Steve Harvey show.
Mhm.
Yes, that's right.
Great
And
show,
it was
yeah.
funny. I can't remember exactly what they went up like in Workaholics. They went up like partying with Lori Beth Denberg somehow, and she's like smoking a J in like a hot tub with them. Like, I got some vital information for y'all bitches. You know what I mean? It's just so funny.
No.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that now.
Yeah.
I'm watching that now.
Yes, Keenan
Oh.
Kell was great. Yes.
Oh, of course.
Before we spend all of our time talking about 90s shows with where we have Jensen, let's get into some actual
I don't want to talk about wrestling at all, man.
Right.
Wait,
like,
wait,
like,
wait,
do
we're
we
just-
have to talk about wrestling? Because it's
Yeah,
been
we're
very
just gonna
boring
skip
for
over
me.
Pete and Pete. What the hell?
Yeah. Dude, one of the
Oh,
best
don't get
theme
me
songs.
started.
One of the best
Yes!
theme songs
I
ever
wanna
on television.
say, when you're living happy
happily
range.
It's not Jimmy. Hey Sandy, yeah. Dog bite. Yes.
Don't get me and Jensen started on singing theme songs to shows because we'll be here all day. But
Yeah.
yes, some sad news in the wrestling world before we get into everything. This week, we lost one of the all-time greats when it comes to professional wrestling. Superstar Billy Graham passed away this week. R.I.P. to him. One of the most influential professional wrestlers of all time. Definitely someone that inspired Scott Steiner, Hulk Hogan. TMZ confirmed that he had passed away on Wednesday, which was originally announced by Ric Flair on Twitter. Graham had been battling a series of serious health issues as of late, and his wife, Valerie Coleman, had said earlier this week that doctors wanted to take him off life support, but she had refused. He was 59 years old, one of the more legendary men in the wrestling business, known for his physique and his ability to cut promos, really inspired by Muhammad Ali, and the way he talked kind of inspired so many different professional wrestlers in history. He had memorable feuds with Vern Gagne, the Crusher, the Bruiser, Wuha McDaniel, Billy Robinson, Ivan Koloff, and Graham eventually took a hiatus from professional wrestling and joined the AWA in 1974. He went on tour to Japan, and then he formed a tag team with a very early in his career Dusty Rhodes. He would eventually exit the AWA and join NWA in 1975, which he had a stint in Mid-Atlantic Promotion where he worked while Ric Flair was recovering from the plane crash, and he joined the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. And WWE had a beautiful video package documenting his career, his influence, and legacy on last night's SmackDown. Any words from any of you, Krssi, Jensen, Doc, on superstar Billy Graham? Maybe like a little bit before our time, unless you're Doc, because Doc is like, he says he's 40, but he's been living longer than all of us combined, apparently. Doc, we'll start with you. Any comments on the passing of superstar Billy Graham here?
I mean, my familiarity with him is only through, old clips. I never got to really watch much of him live. Like, I remember him showing up occasionally in WWE after he had retired, like they all do.
Yeah.
But, I know that a lot of people will claim, like, Hogan basically stole his whole gimmick. Like, he really was that influential. And I do know that he is one of the people who Stu Hart trained. So, he was a legitimate wrestler. He wasn't just the entertainment guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm in the same kind of boat where, like, a little too young to have seen his like active career. Obviously very familiar with who he is. And the influence is definitely there. I mean, there's a lot of trickle down there from, like, he inspired a lot of people who inspired a lot of people. And then, like, a lot of people we're seeing today, whether it's not always going to be as blatantly obvious as like a Scott Steiner, who obviously took like that exact look. But even just little things where when you think about it down the line, I said this on the spotlight, even something where someone who doesn't look like Billy Graham, Ric Flair, he's both, obviously very highly said that Billy Graham, a big influence on him. Then you got someone like Ric Flair, who, goes on to influence Shawn Michaels, who goes on to influence Dolph Ziggler, who goes on to influence, current generation. It's just like, so I think that and I also think it's one of those things that it's important that, I think I'm just assuming this, but I think for wrestlers, they're probably, when they pass away, the legacy they want to leave, they probably want like their close friends, family, whoever like is important to them, and the wrestling world. Like they probably want they want the respect from those two places the most, like their loved ones, and what do the wrestling fans think of me? What, before I die, basically, what's my legacy to them? And he left a positive legacy that was really influential on a lot of people. So like, and he made it to like 80 years old, coming from a generation where those dudes were going super hard every day of the year. It sucks that, he suffered, towards the end of his life, but he had an 80-year life in a really hard business, and came out of it as a legend that people were speaking positively about. So that's a giant win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and he was definitely like an advocate later on in his years. This was another thing that I kind of like heard about him various throughout the years. So definitely an influential star. So sorry for his loss. Our condolences out to his family, and the same to legendary football player Jim Brown that we all lost this week as well.
UFC 1 commentator who did a really good job. Like one had no MMA background and killed it that night, and which was really important for the UFC. Like to
have somebody do that.
Yeah, first show, that could go so many different ways. That show goes bad. Maybe just one bad commentator making everything sound stupid. Maybe you never see that UFC ever again after one show. So I mean, he killed it that night. That doesn't get enough credit probably because he's known for so much other stuff. But like, I always remember when I think Jim Brown, I always think obviously like football and broadcasting and all that. But I think UFC 1, he's important to that.
Very true, very true. But we are here to uplift you guys, pray our condolences to the past, but let's have some fun talking about professional wrestling. And we want to thank everyone who supports us on social media. Our Tru Heel Roll Call is how we start off every episode of the Tru Heel Heat Flagship podcast. Our top 3 conversation starters on the Tru Heels group page on Facebook. You got Neil Benedict, number 2, Stewie Palmer, and number 1, ALW, Alan Weinstein. Our Patreon backers is Alan Weinstein, Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Vala B, Professor Chris, Austin K, You My Boy Blue, Robert, Steve, Antoine, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius John, aka WrestleScopes, Dan, Kobe, Queen Monet, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Beat Boop, Marcus, Justin, Jennifer, Alan, and Caden Lee just joined our Patreons. Thank you to everyone supporting at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. But let's get into what we missed from this past week, and we'll start things off with AEW Dynamite. Dynamite this week, slightly down from last week's rating, 814,000 viewers, but the show was a stacked one with a lot going on the show throughout the 2 hours. The show featured Don Callis trying to explain his betrayal of Kenny Omega before Omega interrupted, which led to the Blackpool Combat Club jumping Omega from behind before the Young Bucks came out, and then the returning Hangman Adam Page as the OG members of the Elite reunited in a brawl with the Blackpool Combat Club, and Hangman Adam Page finally confirmed his reunion with the Elite, challenging the Blackpool Combat Club for Anarchy in the Arena at AEW Double or Nothing. Passionate promo from Hangman Adam Page and an excellent way to close off the show. You also had the 3 challengers in the 4 Pillars match at Double or Nothing were all featured, as Darby Allin teaming with AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy got a win over Lee Moriarty and Big Bill in the opening contest. You also had Sammy Guevara beat Exodus Prime, the best name for a jobber ever, in 19 seconds. He then cut a babyface promo for some reason for his home state fans and showed respect to Darby Allin in a backstage segment. This led to Jungle Boy Jack Perry then defeating Roosh in a good matchup that was completely one-sided, as Roosh kind of dominated Jungle Boy before Jungle Boy got the win with a handful of tights before LFI jumped Jungle Boy, leading to Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara making the save for Jungle Boy, and all 3 challengers on the same page ahead of Double or Nothing. You also had in the women's division, Toni Storm and Ruby Soho beat Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida in a good bout, as Toni Storm set herself up to challenge Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship. You had Ricky Starks get disqualified in his matchup against Jay White. Really damn good matchup though. Before the DQ finish, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus beat down Wardlow with a ladder after the TNT champion called Christian out to set up a ladder match at AEW Double or Nothing. And then finally, Roderick Strong defeated Chris Jericho in a wild, tremendous Falls Count Anywhere match after Adam Cole appeared outside of the building to beat down Jericho to help Strong get the win in his first singles match in AEW. We'll start with you, Doc. What was your highlight from this week's Dynamite?
Oh man, you just ran down everything like Excalibur there for a second.
Yeah,
I'm getting used to this. That's why I'm able to always get how many matches Excalibur goes through on the Tru Heel Heat Twitter, is because I speak Excalibur.
I was very upset that Jamie Hayter was injured. So we didn't get that because I'm like a big Jamie Hayter mark, but I thought everything with Sammy this week was done really well, because I don't think this was a babyface turn for him. I think it's just them making sure the crowd wants him to win more than MJF come the pay-per-view. I think he'll be right back to being a heel, even possibly during the match. But, you know, having the three of them sort of appear united against MJF gives that perception that MJF is fighting an uphill battle, and then he'll, you know, I'm sure he'll probably retain. But beyond that, I did really like Roosh just trying to murder Jack Perry on live television. That was fun.
I just thought Jack Perry was gonna get a comeback before he got the sneaky win.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like it didn't. I felt like they were kind of shoving the whole Sammy Guevara babyface thing down our throat on this show, but I think Jungle Boy had a worse week because that was just so one-sided. That was not a showcase for Jungle Boy at all, in my opinion. But Jensen, what did you think about Dynamite this week? What was your highlight?
I thought the show was great. I thought from top to bottom it was a really great episode of Dynamite. Probably my biggest thing would be the Hangman return. Like, I think that was done perfectly. I could this is a nitpick, but I can go without the eye patch only because like we've seen it in AEW
right,
a bunch of times. It is I almost feel like they're overdoing the eye patch, but like at the same time, like it makes sense for the story that they're doing. Like I get it.
I legit thought it was Rocky Romero for half a second when he first came out. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my God. But once again, that's just a nitpick, you know, like as far as like the actual presentation of all this, I thought it was done really well with, you know, Don Callis came out and he's explaining kind of, you know, he's already really starting to explain why he turned on Kenny. He's trying to put it on Kenny, like it's Kenny's fault all this has happened. And as I was watching that, I was thinking like, damn, this is going to be the end of the show. It's just going to be like Don Callis just like explaining something we kind of already know to more or less. And then Kenny came out and then like, you know, it's like a one-on-four battle basically with him in the Blackpool Combat Club. And then, you know, the Young Bucks come out, they're hurt. They've got weapons like to try to even the score. And then commentary mentions it. They're like, 3 versus 4. What are they going to do? Like, it's still 3-on-4. No matter, you know, the Young Bucks are hurt, Kenny's hurt, and it's still 3-on-4. And something that I think AEW has done great with since the beginning of the company just starting is there's a lot of moments that you can tie into Hangman's music hitting and him entering the arena. I think that's like, it's like a staple of like AEW programming almost, where it's like, I'm very bad at like mimicking sounds and stuff like that. But when you hear that little like bow, 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 like at the beginning, like the whole mood changes because like, you know, Hangman's gonna show up, and then you see like the graphic like the horse. And you're just like, and like there's been a lot of moments in AEW that I can tie to like that happening. The fans going crazy, and yeah, I think we've been obviously building towards this, and we're gonna get the Elite versus Blackpool now. And one thing about this story that I think needs to obviously be in everyone's back of their minds is I think Takeshita is going to be like I think he's going to wind up turning, to be honest. I think he's going to side with Blackpool, and he's going to be the reason that they win at the pay-per-view is my guess. But it makes for such interesting stories. And it's technically a story that's been running since before AEW even was a thought. You know, this story's technically been going with these guys. So like, I think it's really cool. And there's been enough time that's passed where like the Elite haven't been together that like it makes sense to bring them together now, and the fans really want it, and it just makes sense. So, and they are the heart, soul, and spirit of the company. Like they said, it's weird not having them around and together. So yeah, that'd be my highlight. Would be the Hangman return and, you know, reuniting with the Elite.
Yeah, I agree with you. That got me off my seat. I was like, thank you, Tony Khan. For my birthday, I got the Elite reunion.
Krssi, Ibushi, I could see Ibushi. Like, if Ibushi comes in and sides with the Elite, then I would definitely have Takeshita with Blackpool, and that makes perfect sense. We'd have the 5-on-5.
I think you're on the money. I think Takeshita returns at Double or Nothing, and that's how Blackpool Combat Club gets the win. And then
they have another one.
5 versus 4 for Blood and Guts, and then that's when Ibushi comes in to even the odds.
I'm with you.
Krssi
Luv, what about you? Your highlight from this week's Dynamite?
Definitely the ending of the show was fantastic. I think they have prolonged it, and like hasn't been stretched out too long, but it's still a long story of like back layers that are being pulled back now, and it's been shown and given great delivery so far to lead up to the pay-per-view for next week, because you needed something to like spark it up a little bit more. It was like, okay, yeah, we got a good pay-per-view coming, but now this has added on to it to make it probably a great pay-per-view to take over as one of the things that will be like the highlights of the show. As far as Dynamite, yeah, I'm not sure about Sammy Guevara. I mean, he's definitely not winning, but the whole like gist of like back and forth is like, okay, let's keep it consistent with him. It's like, I know you want to like push him out there to like be in the forefront, but it's like, okay, you don't need Ty to come out with him all the time either. I feel like that kind of like dumbs it down, where he comes out and brings her with her when she's her own thing. Like, let her wrestle and like be her own individual self. I know that they are a couple. Do the whole thing like how you guys do with Adam Cole and Britt. Like, you see Britt coming out every time he has a match. No, like, you don't have to like push her onto him and then they gotta like do this god awful kissing. It just makes me want to puke. But you know, like, it's like, we don't need.
And he also is a part of a group that is led by the top heel. So they didn't do the proper steps before we got to this week. Like,
but they were in his hometown basically, right? Though, like, that was like a big part of that was.
But
they were
I get that.
I would be fine with it if it was just this week, but it really started last week when they did that vignette. When they did the vignette for Sammy and they presented him as a babyface then, and I was like, well, that was weird. And then they did it this week.
I'm with Chris though. Like, I think Chris is right on the money though, as far as like, I think this is all being presented so that it looks more just like an uphill battle for MJF. Like, it feels more likely when it's like 3 good guys versus one bad guy. The bad guy is not going to be the that's what I think they're really going for. I could see them going right back to Sammy as a heel, or if they want to go with him as a babyface, if they want to attempt it. He's an unlikable guy for a lot of reasons. I get that, but like, he is very good in the ring. Like, there is a way to make him an effective babyface if they do it right. But I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting MJF to retain, just for the record. Like, I think MJF's leaving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And lastly, I'm so confused on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and that whole like debacle of like, what's the whole dynamic of like, what are we supposed to be getting? I'm confused on all of it.
It's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest.
Really?
I'm a fan of Jeff Jarrett in 2023 ever since the Chicken Farm segment. I jumped on the bandwagon. I'm on the bandwagon, but I'm working my way up. And the fact that Karen Jarrett is back and joining this nonsense.
Right, because it's all like a shit show of like things like happening. I'm like, okay, so are we supposed to like laugh at this or like take this serious? That's why I'm like, my feelings are confused, because I'm like, yes, we had a great segment. What, 2 weeks ago was the chicken segment or whatever, which was the farm. No, it wasn't chicken. The farm episode. The farm where they at whatever, fine, chicken farm. They were at his house and I'm like, they're helping and they had the baby. That was a great vignette. Like, okay, now what? Like, okay. Now and then homeboy pulls off this beautiful suit and then like, okay, now you want to like, okay, I don't know, like, I'm so confused. I'm lost.
Hey, Santom Singh took a perfect table bump on the show. That's all.
That was nice. That was smart too. FTR just like ran out and like took him out of the picture before they got in that fight. No, I get what you're saying though, Krssi. Like, it's kind of a weird, like, that whole group is just like kind of strange. Like, when you look at them, it's like this. It seems like a random pairing of like a bunch of these people that kind of doesn't feel like they're like really fit all together for whatever reason. I get it, but like, I do think Satnam Singh, I'm gonna be honest, like, if this guy can like wrestle at all long term, he might be something. He really, like, I honestly get invested in guys like Satnam Singh and Omos and stuff. I honestly do, because to be that big and to be even that athletic is special. Yes. Like, you know, he's not going to be a Rey Mysterio. No one's expecting him to be. But like, if you can just move even a little bit and just do the stuff you do really well, you can have a great career being that size. And
he's not knock-kneed like most of them are usually, like, you know, like.
Right.
Well, like, he was a professional basketball player. Right. Like, he's an athlete.
Yeah, So
when I got to interview Jeff, and he put Satnam over big time.
I could believe that.
I could believe that.
Like, he went out of his way to be like, people are going to be amazed when this guy lets loose, because he's so nice. Much more.
I mean, he's so nice. I met him, and he's like very like a big, almost. I shouldn't say that. Never mind. Okay.
She's like, I'm not going to pull back the curtain too much.
No,
Jeff got really excited.
But he's very nice,
talking
and
about
I can believe that Jeff like would put him on, because I was like, they treat he's like an athlete like everyone else. Like, and again, like for a guy his size, he doesn't have like, he's not knock-kneed or whatever. Like he's not like Big Show, all of them where they're like they couldn't really walk. Like he like perfectly fine. Like he's really like in good shape.
It's wild seeing like who's that NBA player that's about to come out of the draft that's like 7+, but like runs around like yeah. I mean, like that's the future of like everything. We're gonna get more and more people like that over time, where it's just gonna be like people that can move like that but are 7 feet plus is like it's actually really exciting to think about. Like I want to see some like superhuman stuff, you know. We've gotten rid of like the steroids out of a lot of stuff, and I get that, but like there is some part of me that's like I want to see like freaks like going at it, like
Bronson Reed?
You know, every now and then. Like listen, Bronson Reed's a good example. That guy's humongous and he moves around better than I can, and I'm you know 5'11", you know 180 or whatever. Like it's super impressive to see like kind of this next evolution of like the big man like potentially coming.
Yes.
Like honestly,
I agree.
They should have let him do it, because Bray Wyatt is that kind of athlete. Like he was running a 4.40 in college at that size he was.
Poor Bray
like,
right now. We can't even. Yeah.
Poor
Right.
yeah.
Like what? There was that match where Satnam Singh caught somebody. Was it like Phoenix or someone like jumped off like a ladder off a stage and he like,
caught him? Yeah, he caught him. Yes.
And I was like, that's a lot of trust to put in a dude to make that catch, and he nailed it. You know, just like leaving little things like that to me like go a long way. Where it's like he's nailing the spots he needs to nail. And like money down the line, dude. But think about like 5 years from now, if like Omos and Satnam were in the same company, like if and they were actually good. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Just like
put them together.
Because like, listen, like I watch a ton of indie wrestling. Like most of the wrestlers I watch are like my size or whatever. Like, and I love like Adam Cole's one of my favorites. He's like my size. Like I'm not. But every now and then it's just like I like seeing these. Show me something different, man. If it's out there, I want to see it.
A giant can always draw in pro wrestling if they can do the job. Like
exactly.
Like the reason Big Show was around and as successful as he was is because for years he was a really great athlete. Like all that WCW stuff was amazing. And actually after he went off and failed at being a boxer and came back and was in like the best shape of his life, he had a really good run there after all the Floyd bull stuff was done. but yeah, like there's a lot of giants who've come and gone over the years who've actually been like very good that go underrated.
Sure. Well, and that's where I'm kind of coming from is like, that's why I think guys like Omos and Saturn need to be like treated right. Like, and like the fans need to be behind them. Yeah. Right. Like, or like not be so harsh sometimes on some of these guys, because for every one Omos or Satnam we come across, it feels like we get like 20 like Great Khali or like Giant Singh type, where like just the coordination isn't quite there, like a Sean Bradley type basketball player. Like you got the height, like you're gonna be good because you're tall to a degree, but like but you don't move like an athlete. Like these guys move like athletes.
And it's about patience, because all the guys you named, like Big Show and like Big Show, I think is like an exception to the rule, because you saw how good and athletic he could be really early on in his career.
Well,
but Kane, Undertaker, it took them years to get that good.
Yes.
And Big Show got, I'm not saying this is good or bad, but he did get stifled by Hogan, because Hogan started telling him, stop doing moonsaults, stop doing drop kicks. Like, I'm over here doing a leg drop, brother. Like, you got to not be jumping off the top rope. You know what I mean?
That is one of those holy grail pieces of lost footage. Is supposedly there is a clip out there of him at the power plant doing a moonsault.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And it's like the Tom McGee match for all those years where nobody could find it, and then all of a sudden somebody was like, "Hey guys, we have it."
There are clips out there, I believe, though, of him doing top rope missile drop kicks. I remember.
Yes,
I think he did one in WCW.
Yeah, that's
he did it on Nitro. He did it on an episode of Nitro. I think when he was playing, he was versing.
It was after he left the NWO, right?
Loch
I
Ness.
think
When he
so.
I think it was before. I think it was when he was still a part of Dungeon
Oh,
of Doom.
was it?
He did it
Wait.
against like Loch Ness.
Oh
Wow.
God, Loch
Yeah.
Ness.
So this would have been like 1995 we're talking about.
Yeah. 1995, 1996, early
Yeah.
96, before NWO.
Anyway,
hit.
this conversation gotten very away
I know
from us.
it
but
went left.
I'm
It
glad.
went
I'm
left.
glad. I'm
I
glad
was
we-
gonna
I'm
say
glad
we
had
could
talked
talk about Haystacks Calhoun if you want to.
But
Loch
let's
Ness.
talk about the big news from the week from All Elite Wrestling as they made their major announcement on their new show. All Elite Wrestling officially announced their new show, AEW Collision, prior to the expected reveal at the Warner Brothers TV upfront. The show will launch on June 17th. It will include talent like Miro, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs, Andrade El Idolo, Samoa Joe, and others. The poster right here features MJF, Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs, Orange Cassidy, Andrade, FTR, Miro, and the House of Black. Meanwhile, there's another graphic that had Scorpio Sky, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. On Thursday's Wrestling Observer Radio, they reported that several of the names were selected due to their positive working relationship with the intended star CM Punk. As noted, Punk was rumored to be announced with the show, but was not featured. Earlier in the Wrestling Observer episode, Meltzer noted that Punk was indeed intended to be part of the TV upfronts before something happened to disrupt that, which we'll get into. It was noted that Powerhouse Hobbs in particular is meant to be one of the stars of the show. Hobbs, along with FTR, were earmarked for the show due to being friends with CM Punk. Samoa Joe was also set for the show and was meant to be Punk's first opponent back. And Meltzer said that Collision was very much intended to be the CM Punk show, and Punk may have also asked for Andrade to be part of it. It was said that everyone who has heat or had problems with other people were planned for the show. It was noted that both Andrade and Thunder Rosa are still out due to injury. Rosa is dealing with a bad back, while Andrade recently had surgery to repair a torn pectoral that he suffered at All Out last year. The first cities that will host AEW Collision were revealed on Dynamite. They're going to be at on June 24th in Toronto. Thursday, June 29th is a special taped episode in Hamilton, Ontario. Saturday, July 8th in Regina. They also have Calgary. There'll be Calgary Stampede on Saturday, July 15th, and Saturday, July 22nd. They'll be back in the United States in Newark, New Jersey. So all of those were announced except for the location for the first episode, which was supposedly reportedly supposed to be the United Center, but that has all to do with a certain CM Punk, who is notable for his absence from the announcement. It was previously rumored that Punk was a major part of the show, so much so that Warner Media was asking for Punk to be part of the program. The debut Collision event is also expected to be at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, 1 month from now, with the event being titled The Second Coming. But Fightful Select had an update on that announcement, not having any information regarding CM Punk. First up, it should be noted that the email Warner Media for the press release announcing Collision did name CM Punk. Also, images have surfaced of a press site link to the press release, including Punk's name, as well as on social media, per SI Media's Jimmy Tremaine and WrestleNomics Brandon Thurston. The images show the cached listing of the press release, originally mentioning CM Punk along with other wrestlers, and it was later edited by Warner Brothers Discovery due to a falling out that went down, and Warner Brothers representative put out a note saying that CM Punk is not affiliated with TNT's AEW Collision. However, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that there were those in Warner Brothers media who didn't think the company should have commented on the matter, and the belief is that WBD should have stayed out of it if let things work out naturally. People in the company hoped that it would blow over like previous issues with CM Punk they were made aware of. And then a report came out by Fightful Select which detailed everything that went down between CM Punk and AEW, which centers on the status of Ace Steel. According to the report, Chris Jericho mentioned during his meeting with Punk a couple of weeks back that there was a possibility of Steel returning in some capacity, with the belief that being that everyone working together could relieve some tensions between the various sides and show everyone was willing to do business with one another. The site adds that during a meeting with AEW and Punk this week, AEW said to Punk that Steel would be able to return and work directly with Punk. However, it was made clear that Steel would not be able to be at TV tapings. Punk disagreed with that decision, though the report stresses that there's no word on how Punk specifically reacted other than the notion that he didn't agree. There is not yet word on whether this is related to Punk not being revealed during the AEW Collision announcement, nor whether it was anything to do with the statement they made that Punk is not affiliated with AEW Collision. It is also noted that Punk ideally did not want his return announced via Warner Brothers Discovery press release. While he was obviously removed from the press release, Fightful has not received word as to why. The report additionally notes that there were plans for AEW crew to film content at Punk's home on Wednesday, but there's no word on whether it happened. And as of now, there has not been word of a change in Punk's status with AEW or return plans. PW Insider reports that Impact Wrestling sources noted on Wednesday that they had interest in bringing Steel in for a tryout, but it was passed on several weeks ago, and the belief at Impact was the refusal meant that Steel was headed to AEW or WWE. And then Dave Meltzer on Thursday's Wrestling Observer Radio confirmed that Punk was intended to be part of the Collision announcement at the Warner Brothers upfronts. The plan was for Punk to be at the presentation, and he would be featured in the graphic as well. On Tuesday, WBD was told to remove Punk from the graphic and press release, and the reason why he was removed is unclear at this point, but Meltzer said a situation that happened was due to that. He noted that the story from PW Insider, which said it had to do with a potential return to AEW for Ace Steel, is pretty close, and that the article stated that Steel was at one point set to return with Punk behind the scenes. However, it was later decided that Steel would not work the Collision tapings, something that Punk disagreed with, and Punk allegedly demanded that Steel return, but Tony Khan did not want him back, and Punk has reportedly told that Steel could work in AEW, but could not actually be present at the tapings, and this led to Punk walking. There's a little bit more about this, but I wanted to get Jensen's thought on this part of the story, with Ace Steel kind of being the breaking point between CM Punk and AEW having this falling out. And what do you think this could mean to the future of AEW, especially with this new show, AEW Collision, kind of being centered around Punk being the centerpiece to this whole thing?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I talked a lot about this on Thursday on the Spotlight with Jeremy. If you want like deeper dive on that, because I don't have like the best opinion of CM Punk. Like I don't like him very much. Just straight up, I'll just keep it real. Like I just don't really like Phil Brooks that much. But I understand that he's a draw in wrestling and he has a ride or die fan base, and like I get it. Like I get why there are fans who want him back, but I'm just not one of them. Like I'm just over it. I don't think he's important or valuable enough at this point to deal with all of this. And I think if the straw that breaks the camel's back is a Steel, then like, I mean, think about it. If I already don't think CM Punk's important enough to deal with all this, the Steel shouldn't even be a part of the conversation, dude. You in a fight between grown men, you threw a chair and bit somebody. Like you're done. And the fact that we're even talking about any of this is kind of hilarious, because like in any other actual real job ever, if you just got into like if you even say the stuff you do about your boss the way that like CM Punk did, like you're risking your job just with the way you're talking about your EVPs and your boss and all that stuff. You're already riding a fine line and risking it on that alone. And then once you get into the territory of fist fighting people, allegedly, and then once again, you could even look at it as, okay, maybe, because the other side of this obviously is Tony Khan is a lifelong wrestling mark. That's why I love him so much. Why I love a big reason why I love AEW so much. I love that there's one of us running a wrestling company and it's as successful as AEW is. I think it's awesome. I've always wanted to see something like this. But the problems that come with that are he is a wrestling mark and he's a CM Punk mark. And like, but where I see it from is like, y'all wanted CM Punk day one and he had no interest until y'all were established and successful. And then you gave him the world, you gave him the championship, you did all these things, and he still wound up being the same old Phil Brooks that we've known about since the early 2000s, who still has fallings out. He still can't get, there's certain people he still can't get along with that they had fallings out 20 years ago. They still don't want to work with them. And that there's a lot of, it's just one of these things, like half the fan base seems to not like him anymore. Half the locker room seems to not like him anymore. The EVPs apparently don't really want to work with him. And so it's one of the things, how much value does he actually bring to the table versus all the headaches? And to answer your question, if it comes down to what's frustrating about this for someone like me, especially, as you say, is that I'm reasonable enough to be like, listen, even though I don't really like the guy, bring him back. It's going to be good television. It's going to be good storylines. The matches were good. His actual run in AEW on screen was fantastic, especially the MJF feud. And I love the Darby stuff. It was the Kingston stuff. It was a great on-screen run, but he's super injury prone. He has these attitude problems. And even if AEW is going to say okay,
these are all facts. We don't even have to say anything. Jensen has just answered every single thing. I'm just sitting here just great.
Well, Andy's 45 years old. This isn't some cool, rebellious, 20-year-old dude. This is just lame when you're this old and you act like this still. You're making millions and millions of dollars and you have nowhere else to go because you can't go back to the WWE. You can't go back to the UFC. Don't even get me started on the UFC run. And you know what I mean? It's he was super unsuccessful outside of the WWE with everything, except for he was on, I guess, that heel show or whatever whatever the wrestling show was he was a part of. His comic books never took off and stuff. All this other stuff he did never really took off. So he's just this disgruntled employee everywhere he goes. And I just don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze with this guy at all anymore. And once again, they keep getting to the point where it's okay, we figured it all out. We're going to make a whole new show for you. We're going to go to Chicago for you. We're going to keep bending over backwards and bending over backwards and bending over backwards. And we're going to get you back. And every time it seems like it gets to the point of bringing him back, he goes on the internet and he burns bridges like an immature. What if, I don't know any 45-year-olds just period that do that, unless, it's just weird. So and once again, if that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, it's you're getting to this point where finally we're on the same page enough that we're ready for you to return. We're all lined up. We're going to bring you into this meeting. You're going to do the upfronts. You're going to do all this stuff, whatever.
You're the face of this show. And
after all this, we're going to still give you.
We're still giving you
still again, right? And then he has to come with. And this is the kind of stuff that pisses me off. And this is where Tony Khan needs to put his foot down, in my opinion, because CM Punk knows the leverage he has because they keep bending over backwards for him. He knows he can keep getting away with this stuff. And they're doing it to the point of making new shows based around him to get him back. So he's sitting there and he just now he's in negotiation mode again, going, okay, well, now they're absolutely desperate because now I've got them in a position where everyone's expecting me to be a part of the show. Now they need me.
Yes.
I'm supposed to be the face of this whole thing. And now everyone's expecting me to be the face of this whole thing.
Yes.
And that's where I also am not super happy with guys like Dax Harwood, if I'm being honest, keeping these narratives out there during this process because it keeps the fans going, okay, he's coming back. He's happy again. He's getting along with people. He gets people excited for him to come back. And now but he's just using it to negotiate. And if you're going to get to the point of negotiation to where it's all ready, and then you just get to, well, you're going to bring my friend back, but that's not good enough for me. You're going to have to bring him all the way back. You're going to have to bring him back so he's backstage with me now too. And they're going, well, we don't want to do that. And he's like, well, then I'm not going to be there. And it's that's just me assuming kind of how it went. And
that's how it sounds. Yeah.
And that's to me, if you're Tony Khan, you got to put your foot down and be like, you're done, dude. It's over. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. We've given you everything.
Yeah.
And
we've
you
tried.
just aren't worth it at this point. Imagine if Trevor Lawrence, his quarterback for the Jaguars, got up in a press conference and told him he was a moron, told all the GMs, the offensive coordinator, they're all idiots, they're empty-headed F words or whatever, and all this stuff. Went backstage, got in a fist fight with his bosses, and then they still figured out how to get him back. And the point of contention was, well, my friend needs to be in the locker room with me. I mean, that's how I feel about it, dude. Whatever. If they're gonna bring him back, I'm sure it's gonna be good television, but I keep saying, just expect this to happen again. It's happening before he's even returned. You don't think it's going to happen again when he's back?
It's very true. You spent nothing but facts there, Jensen. Thank you for saying a lot of our thoughts are on this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other part of it is I'm not intimidated by CM Punk.
Yeah,
like he knows I don't like him. I straight up. Like I'm not sitting here trying to I would never want to actually fight.
What
the
a
guy
way to
or
say
anything
fuck
like that.
you. Love
Well,
it.
no, I'm just saying, the guy is I know he knows who I am. He knew who I was back when I worked for MMA On Point because he was blocking us then when I was doing videos about how bad of a fighter he was. So yeah, so it's one of those things where I just don't have any time for it. It's one of those things where the mystique is gone. When you go into the UFC and you get beat up by a photographer who's the second worst fighter of all time, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. It's just not, the aura's gone. He's just a dude. He's just a dude to me. He's a dude who has a lot of fans, but he keeps losing fans. And I just had enough of it, honestly. I just don't, because once again, if they get rid of him, then what? He's going to be back in the same position he was in after the WWE, where he has nothing. He got nowhere to go, and he's going to be disgruntled, and then he'll probably try to find his way back in again. And time's ticking, dude. You're 45. Make your money, do your stories, get along with people on your way out, dude. But you can't do that for whatever reason.
Make lemon out of lemonade, friend. You get more honey with bees.
Dude, the amount of money they would make by doing them versus the Elite, them versus him versus Ken. He doesn't
so get it. You can make, and like you said, you're 45, dude. You have but so much year. I mean, I don't see you being like Sting, but
right. Well,
let's just say facts. Sir, you have but so many years. Like you said, you're injury prone. You don't have the best body. So it's okay, great. Let's do these little things while you still have time, make all this money and set you up for life. But I guess he doesn't give a shit about that.
When even if the Elite don't want to work with him, which might be part of this, which I understand if they don't want to work with him, guys like Jericho seem like they're willing to and stuff. He would have stuff to do. He sounds like he wants to work with Samoa Joe. They're still buddy. That's the whole other thing with Collision. All the names they mention on this thing are either disgruntled employees or friends of CM Punk. I mean, this was the CM Punk and Friends show, and now he might not be a part of it.
Yeah,
because he still can't be there.
I called it the problematic playground. That's what AEW Collision is turning into. Doc, what do you think?
I'm just waiting for Chris to jump on and be like, Steven, you're so wrong. You're refute everything I just said.
That's why
that's why I said I don't have to say anything. Is that your t-shirt like the Cash Money
yeah, they make him say Cody Rhodes, yeah.
I
Brandy in the background.
That.
Where'd you get that from?
Pro Wrestling Tees. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but yeah, this is a real. This is ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yo, that is fire! Oh my god!
Thank you,
Doc. What do you think about this latest edition of the Punk and the Restless, with Ace Steel kind of being a breaking point for Punk, and where do you think this is all gonna play out? And do you expect CM Punk to show up on the debut of Collision?
I'm just tired. I just fucking come back or go away.
Thank you, dude. That's all I was saying. I just said it in a lot more words.
The phrase, shit or get off the pot. Make a decision. Let's do this.
The train is leaving you. You're getting on. You're either going to get on or you're going to go. We're going to bypass your stop. We keep passing you. Obviously, you really don't care.
And what really sucks for Punk is the longer this goes on and the more his narrative is dominated by these kinds of things instead of his professional wrestling.
Yes.
It's going to ruin his legacy. Because if he had never come back to AEW, there'd still be this whole legion of fans that hold him up on this pedestal, and some of those have been chipped away. I like watching the guy perform. I think he's a great storyteller.
Agree.
I don't think he's so important to the brand of AEW that they need to be rolling out the red carpet the way they have been. I really hope, for the sake of the business, he comes back, because Punk on a spreadsheet is good for business.
Right.
You know, he's going to push merch. He's going to sell tickets. He's going to be a good promo. He's hopefully going to put people over. He put some people over during this run. Like, you know, he hasn't just come in and dominated the competition. So I see a lot of value in him, but I'm just tired. You know, I'm just
it's just a trade-off, right? Like that's the whole thing is like there's like obviously there is value in CM Punk, but like is the value in dealing with him worth potentially burning bridges with like people that don't want to deal with him? You know what I mean? Like is this a breaking point where like Punk comes back and then maybe guys like Kenny or the Young Bucks are like heavily considering, do we go to the WWE? Like if maybe he's not around, they're like, this is our company again. This feels like AEW. Like
we can do this. Just take over.
Like, here's what's really funny to me. If you go back even 20 years, backstage fights happened all the time.
Sure.
Dudes got over it within a week or two. Like, why is this carrying on for 9 months? I get it. Somebody got bit. That sucks. Like, but like, suck it up and move on. You know, like the dog is fine.
Sure.
That's all that matters, right?
Yes, Larry's okay. and apparently Kenny saved Larry according to the report.
Kenny,
so
I've been saying this for months on the show, Jensen. Kenny did nothing wrong. That honestly, when they said, "Oh, somebody from either side wants to just be done with it, just apologize and get through," I'm like, "That's Kenny Omega. That's obviously Kenny Omega."
I can like hear him like you know how Kenny like will get like that really goofy kind of like with like his eyes and like the screechy voice when he I can see save the doggy, you know what I mean? Like I can see him like running towards the dog and like pushing everyone else out of the way. You might have like hurt someone saving the dog, you know what I mean? Like shove someone out of the way to get to the dog. But I think that once again, I want to stress this: CM Punk's on-screen run in AEW is fantastic. I need to make that super clear. Like, so I'm with you though, Chris. Like, I think there's definitely value there in bringing him back. It's just, is it worth the headaches that come with it? I just don't. I just don't know. And also, sorry, by the way, I just want to also say with the backstage fight, I agree with you there too. That used to happen all the time, and it was just part of the business.
Yeah,
and like, but the dynamic though is a little different with them being EVPs and technically his boss, and this all happening right after he just trashed the company in front of the world in a press conference too. Like it's just all a bad look. True,
but again, like, you know, we are talking about a bunch of adults, like.
Sure.
I feel like everybody should have gotten over this a long time ago, and hopefully someday they do. Like, I'm sorry, but if Edge and Matt Hardy can be on an episode of Table of Three all these years later,
that's true.
CM Punk can break bread with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks down the line. Like, there is forgiveness to be had.
Yeah, because he took his old lady and slept with her.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing. That was a big thing.
You kind of think about it, like you can't really compare the two, but you see where like, okay, I guess I could forgive my own wife. Like they're not even with homegirl at all. Like they both got separate wives and children.
And now they're all cool with each other.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like all of them.
I wonder if they got family cookouts. Like
even Brett and Sean, they had Brett was beating up Sean backstage and pulling out his hair, and then all these years later they could do the Rival series, they could do the segment in WWE, they could do
Brett
signings together.
Out.
Yeah, straight up, give him that shiner. Yeah, I mean the sad thing here too is like before all this, before Punk ever joined AEW and before AEW was even really like a real thing, the Young Bucks and Punk were buddies. Like these guys were friends for years. I mean, this isn't like these guys just met and like didn't get along with each other. This is a long-term friendship that something went really wrong when they were working together in AEW.
I think it's honestly the way everything has played out. It's a whole thing about, it seems like Punk's paranoia. Because he created a narrative in his head that the Young Bucks and the Elite were the ones that were feeding the dirt sheet rumors, which is kind of a hypocritical thing because we all have seen Punk's people are the ones that's leaking information to people about him. So it's just like that's like the pot calling the kettle black. You're getting mad at them for something that you do. So that in general, I honestly didn't understand from the very beginning what his big issue was. If you do it, you can't be mad at anybody else who do it, but you had no proof that it was them that did it.
Yeah, he's a giant hypocrite, dude. All this stuff is hypocritical. Even just his philosophy on wrestling and being a veteran now is different. When he was coming up, he was the guy saying like, you know, I like the old guard doesn't get it. Like I understand like what the new generation is and like, you know, this or that. You can't tell me nothing. Like I'm gonna do my thing. I'm doing it my way, straight edge, blah 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 blah. And then now he's at a point where he's in that position and now he's getting butthurt because guys like Hangman Page aren't coming up to him being like, please, Phil, tell me advice on what to do, you know, or maybe he's giving them advice and he's in there and they just don't want it. And, you know, and a big part of the thing, this really bothers me too. A big part of CM Punk's gripe seemed to be Hangman saying stuff to him in a promo on Dynamite that went over everybody's heads. Nobody would have ever known anything about what they were talking about.
I literally did multiple reviews on this platform and other platforms where we were all confused by what Hangman said. And we just thought it was more in line with what MJF had been saying, what Eddie Kingston had been saying. We just thought it was like the basic evolution of those promos. And then it got to hear with him like
the fruition of it all.
Yeah. And Punk's really selfish. That was the main thing.
And I think that speaks to the paranoia and almost like I don't know what the right word is, like a complex of like thinking you're more important, like that you're better. Well, I think that he almost thinks that people care about him more than they really do in certain ways. And what I mean by that is like nobody knew what he was talking about, but he assumed everyone knew what he was talking about. You know what I mean? Like, he got all butthurt about this to the point of calling Hangman an empty-headed F word, to where like nobody even knew. So like CM Punk in his own mind is thinking like everyone knows everything about me, and like
I'm
he went
low. Sure, I know what was said.
Either do I. To be honest, like there was some sort of low blow that, you know, some personal thing I guess that CM Punk heard Hangman say about him in that promo, and it touched a nerve, but nobody. And is your ego that fragile? Like, dude, you've grabbed a microphone before on live television, waved to the camera, and said that the business is going to be better when Vince McMahon dies and his doofus son takes over. It's just who are you to say like someone can't low blow you a little bit? No one even knew he was doing it.
Like, you know what's really funny too is, so I did get to interview Punk really shortly after like he kind of started that run. And one thing from the interview that like nobody really picked up, which surprised me, was he was in talks to join AEW within 6 months of the debut of Dynamite.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
But the pandemic pushed all that back. But like it's weird to think of a world where we might have actually had Punk for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up, because
can you imagine?
And that is a good, because I'll run this back a little bit, because I'm willing to like, I try to be as reasonable as I can. If I make a mistake, I'll try to like, I'll see both sides of this. So I do get on Punk quite a bit about joining AEW so late, because I know they wanted him day one, and I know they were heavily courting him during the pandemic. But the fact that he didn't debut till post-pandemic, until there was fans there, I totally get that. So like,
I think that was more of a Tony thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're probably right about that, and it would make business sense for them to wait until fans are back for all that. I get that. So I do want to say, I'll be fair about that on my end, like, because I do use that as a point against Punk pretty often, that he waited so long, but he probably would have been there much earlier had the pandemic not happened. So I'm willing to put that out there.
But there is also
like to agree there.
There is also the whole thing of like, like if he really wanted to, he could have pushed to come earlier. Like it was definitely a choice to wait. The whole, I don't remember who it was that called him out on it, but they're like, you're just here for a paycheck because you ran out of your UFC money or whatever it was. Like, I don't know how that line didn't piss him off more than whatever Hangman said.
Yeah. And honestly, like and that's another thing about this that's kind of interesting to me is like, I don't for a second think that CM Punk needs the money. I think he has plenty of money.
Same.
You know what I mean? So it's I don't think he's doing this. I think he's doing it for money to a degree because like I think there's there's a large number on the contract he signed with AEW and he wants to get all of it.
That trial cost him a lot of money though.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's where the paranoia comes from. And as we saw this past week, he has this vendetta that he feels is against him, against the Observer with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
I just hope that AJ put all her book money in a separate account.
He's gonna be sucking it dry. The little other notes from this story, Meltzer did also note that there were conflicting reports about Ace Steel circulating, that there were some who felt Punk screwed Tony Khan ahead of the AEW Collision announcement, and no one on the AEW side has discussed this, but a source with WBD noted that their belief is that there will be an attempt to work things out, and WBD is said to be hopeful that it will work out and that it's not a done deal. And then according to a report by Nick Hausman with House of Wrestling, AEW already went through the process of rehiring Ace Steel. Per the report, AEW rehired Steel several months ago. However, despite the rehiring, Steel has not been actively working behind the scenes yet, and previously Steel was fired in October for his role in the backstage altercation at All Out, and Steel was then reportedly rehired back by AEW a short time after his release. After being rehired, Steel was informed that he would work with Tony Khan on creative side in some capacity, but he was not able to appear backstage as of yet. It would upset some talent if he was backstage, and as a result, Steel has been working remotely for the company for the past several months. House of Wrestling also reports that the understanding was that after AEW Collision debuts, Steel would be allowed to return to the road to work for AEW as an agent, and that reportedly changed on Tuesday when a decision was made not to have Steel back on the road. Punk then reportedly learned about the decision a short time later. This was then followed by miscommunication with lawyers, and it ultimately led to Punk being pulled from the Collision announcement, and this could be one explanation for the images earlier on that had Punk on it. And Punk is reportedly still part of AEW. He said to be motivated in wanting to help the company's growth, and in addition, Punk's relationship with the company president and CEO Tony Khan is also said to be good at the moment, noting that there were no issues between the two and that communication was still open between them. And the Wrestling Observer newsletter said that several AEW sources have denied that Steel is back with the company. The Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that the denial comes from the top of AEW, and those close to Steel, however, has said that it was closely kept secret and he would return at Collision. Top people in AEW were not aware, and most still did not know until this past week. When talent found out a couple of weeks ago, they were said to be very surprised. And then on Wednesday, like Jensen mentioned earlier, CM Punk went off in an Instagram rant where he called out Wrestling Observer's Brian Alvarez for spreading lies and having a personal vendetta against him after Alvarez commented on rumors surrounding why Punk wasn't included in the Collision announcement. He then shared a video with his thoughts on wrestling tribalism and some fans' parasocial relationships with certain people. Punk said that some fans need to go touch grass, as he said. And then also the plan B right now for the Collision debut is if things doesn't work out with Punk. Our Wrestling Observer newsletter reports AEW does have the United Center book for June 17th, but they are also working on booking the Daly's place in Jacksonville. In Daly's place, people have been told that it's a backup plan for the Collision debut. It's not the A plan, but it's a possibility if Punk thing doesn't work out. So, Krssi, I'll start with you. Two important questions. Do you think Punk shows up June 17th for the debut of Collision? And do you think it will be with Ace Steel working backstage for AEW?
I feel like since they're like begging him and like keeping him like, oh my God, this is like they keep rewarding someone that keeps saying like F you. I feel like they're going to have him there. What location? Not sure. And then why do we need why do we need this gentleman there? What does he do?
It's his trainer. He was also a producer for AEW, so they have a long history. But Ace Steel himself hasn't accomplished hardly anything like as a wrestler. Like he was in Ring of Honor briefly and stuff like that, but like he's more or less known for training CM Punk.
So he wants to be like his Paul Heyman. Okay, great, sure.
But like backstage, not even on the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need someone like to like advocate for. So baby, like okay, so like this is like daddy daycare, like someone to like watch him. Is that kind of what it is? Like we need someone like keep him in check.
It's basically like someone he's close to having them backstage, so he feels more comfortable. Basically,
I think he feels like because he's got his boys like Danhausen and
right. I say all those people are there. Like you're working. They gave you a whole damn show. Like you got people around you that want to be. That's gonna be there. Like what more do you need? But yes, and I guess yes, they're gonna give him everything he needs on a platter.
What about you, Doc? What do you think? What
they feel like they need him when they really probably don't, but you know.
I mean, I think we get him back. I don't know if it's by the Collision debut or not. They really like, you know, how early or how late can you wait to make that call? Like,
right.
You have to sell the tickets. So I don't know. When do we get that announcement? You know, 10, 15 days out from the show? That's not that far away.
Yeah, I think they're giving themselves the week because that's what Tony Khan said. He was going to announce the location on Dynamite this coming Wednesday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, if they end up booking Florida and then work it out and Punk comes back, it's still going to be a good reaction. It just won't be the Chicago pop that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jensen?
So this is assuming like, I guess we can't really assume anything, but like, I guess I'm going to assume they're going to still do Chicago because that was the plan, right? United Center.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt they're not going to do that. So like, have they, sorry, I'm a little, it's a lot of stuff going on with this. Have they actually confirmed and announced the Chicago date? Cause that was like a known thing weeks ago, but like
Tony Khan literally said on this week's Dynamite that he's going to announce it on next week's Dynamite. He made an announcement.
That's what I thought. Okay. That's
right.
He had my ducks in a row. Okay,
he said the new show and everything, but he was like, oh, but for our very first show will be announced next week. So they're still, I guess, like playing it close and trying to like figure out what they want to do exactly. But he said, so he had like 2 announcements in like one.
Also, my prediction is CM Punk will be there. It'll be in Chicago, and Ace Steel will also be there. I think Tony will cave. I don't like that, but I think you will.
Right.
And now that
giving
said,
a big baby everything he wants, but he keeps clearly getting in trouble. Like, stop rewarding him. You're enabling him.
Yeah, I agree. One, what I would, and this is gonna sound, I don't even know if I should say this because it sounds so cold. It's like but like, you remember back in like, Chris would know better than me. You would have been watching this live, whereas I was a little bit after. Remember when Vince was in this position with Ultimate Warrior, and they needed him to show up, and they got him to show up.
Yeah.
Remember what happened after that?
Yes.
I don't know, not off the top of my head.
Well, he got rid of him.
Yeah. He basically did the spot at SummerSlam 1991, and then when he came backstage, Vince basically gave him his pink slip and
gave
said,
him a note.
"Well, basically said he was suspended, and then he eventually was fired."
But they got him for the show they needed. They got him on the show. They got the obligation out of him. But after that, they gave him a letter that said, "Dude, we don't do business like this." Like,
wasn't he holding them up for money?
Yeah.
So,
but he got the money. Like Vince wound up like caving to get him onto the show, but then got rid of him right afterwards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying necessary to do that. I'm just saying, like, if Tony Khan wants to like finally come across like the boss, get CM Punk there, do it in Chicago, big grand opening for this show, big. Because here's the thing, let's be fair too. When Rampage started, big pops for the first few shows, but then it really petered out. I'm not saying this is going to happen with Collision one way or another. I hope it doesn't. I hope they're successful. And I love the logo, by the way. I love the WCW vibes and everything about that. But I'm just saying, like, if Tony wants to finally dick move somebody, like, this would be it. Like, get CM Punk there in Chicago with Ace Steel. What happens after that, I don't know.
You think they pulled the Ultimate Warrior SummerSlam 91?
No, I don't think that they would do. I don't think he would do that. But I think Tony Khan needs to do something to clearly establish that he is the boss and he can't be fucked with.
If
And I
Tony
honestly
Khan,
think he needs to.
if
I
Tony
agree.
Khan, if he were to fire Punk right after bringing him in for the debut, like that's the
crazy. Yeah.
that's the one thing that would get Vince McMahon to call him and be like, "You're doing a great job, pal."
Yeah. You're finally getting it, TK. You're finally getting it.
That's the put your dick on the table moment. I'm with it. I'm with it.
I'm not saying, once again, I'm not advocating to do that. I'm one of these people who I do not, no matter if I don't like you, I never say like fire this person, take away this person's sponsors, like deplatform this person. Like I'm just not that guy. I'm pretty big believer in like the market kind of figures itself out to a degree. Like people who like CM Punk are gonna like him, people who don't aren't. There's ways to win fans back here and there and stuff. But I'm not sitting here and saying like fire CM Punk. I'm just saying like Tony Khan needs to do something.
Yeah.
So that because what's to stop this from happening with other people going forward? I get CM Punk's an anomaly because it is CM Punk, but like if you're gonna let me put it this way: if this was the WWE, you better be Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like there's no one else who's gonna be able to even come close to pulling something like this. You better be Roman Reigns. If you're gonna pull something like this, you better be Steve Austin in 1998. You better be Hulk Hogan in '96 when the NWO was getting hot. But CM Punk isn't that guy anymore. That's I think a problem with this is like I think there's value in CM Punk, but this isn't 2011 super mega hot summer of Punk CM Punk, and plus all the injuries and the age and all this stuff, all these factors. It just isn't the same to me. I just don't think that Tony Khan should be bending over backwards like this for him. But you know, that's just me. You know, it just is what it is. And I got to say this 1,000 times. If he comes back to the show. And this is where it hurts too, because like I felt this way about Punk in a lot of ways before he even came to AEW, because I was aware of his past in the Indies, and I was aware of his past in WWE, and I was aware of his UFC career, and I was aware of all this stuff, and I was like, I'm not really that into CM Punk coming back, like especially if he's going to come back and beat all these guys that I like. But it was so good that I was into it. I was like, hell yeah! He came out in like the fight shorts, like the old theme song against MJF for the dog collar match. Like there was so much good stuff that he did, right? Even like the little things, like the match against Lee Moriarty, just one-on-one, just like helping a younger guy get like, you didn't beat him, but he got a good rub on, you know, having a good match. Like there was a lot of great things CM Punk did on the show. And I think I could feel the same way. If he came back a few months from now, I could be sitting right here on this show saying the same thing going, yeah, he's back. I didn't really love the circumstances, but this is great television. I'll be willing to admit it's great television, but there's always going to be in the back of my mind is like, when's it going to happen again? It just
when the other shoe's gonna drop. It's
right.
Very much
like at what point does it, and then what point does the leverage become a big problem? Because it's like, what what does he want? Are you gonna put the world title on him again at some point and then have this happen? And now you're world champion? Is it like it's this weird spot to be in? Because I feel like if you bring Punk back, you can't have him involved with the world title anymore. It's just too risky for your company, I think. But he's such a big star. And there's so many untold stories there, and especially with MJF still, with him as the champion, like there's a history there. So it's like it's just a weird spot to even bring Punk back, because you know he doesn't have to be involved in the title, but he's also such a big star that you kind of expect him to be. So like, but you don't want to put the title on him and wind up in this position where he's negotiating with you again. So like,
exactly,
you know
want to
what
give him more leverage.
Right, you don't want to give him more leverage.
The bottom line is we all keep talking about the same shit.
Yeah,
every fucking week.
You're right.
And it's just becoming like we give this man an hour, 2 hours of just talking about foolishness of like either he's gonna come to work or not. And he got money. Right. He ain't gotta do shit. That's the sad part.
I'm with you, Krssi. Unfortunately, I'm tired about it. I'm tired of talking about it also, but I know people like hearing about it. CM Punk's a very divisive subject. Like, because he has so many fans that are going to ride or die with him regardless, you know? And I respect that too, man. Like I do. I don't hate CM Punk as a human being. There's just a lot of things I don't like about him. I don't hate people who are CM Punk fans. I don't hate you for wanting to have CM Punk on the screen. I understand why people like CM Punk. He represents a lot for a lot of people. There's a whole generation of wrestling fans, as a matter of fact, that didn't even watch wrestling for like they watched it in the 90s. They stopped during the Cena era, then they got back into it in the 2010s with Punk, and their attachment to modern day wrestling is CM Punk getting them back into it. I mean, I get all of that, you know, and that's a powerful thing for a lot of fans, but I just want those fans that are like so flag in the ground, pro CM Punk, anti maybe Elite, or maybe don't understand Tony Khan's side or understand like my side of it. Just understand like the side of fans that kind of that I'm on, going, we can recognize all these great things about him, but get why we don't think it might not be the best idea to be dealing with this dude anymore.
Yes, it's a very toxic relationship at this point between CM Punk and AEW. We would put that in the toxic tier of relationships.
Yes.
But Jensen, I know you do got your interview in a little bit.
Yes.
But I thank you so much for joining us and getting all that emotion out on CM Punk. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on over on Fightful Select, over on the Fightful main channel. Let the people know.
For sure. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at @FightTalk_. You can listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast over on FightfulSelect.com. That drops every Sunday. Occasionally I do it on a Monday, depending on if there's like a big Sunday indie show or something, but I should be doing it on, well, I'll probably do it tomorrow, even though there's a GCW show tomorrow, but my birthday is on Monday and I don't want to work. So I'll probably do the Weekender on Sunday. You'll probably see it on Fightful Select tomorrow. And then every Thursday, myself and Jeremy Lambert do the Spotlight. That's it's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time every Thursday morning. We talk the world of pro wrestling, and then we have an interview at the end as well. Yeah, please check all that out and support the work we do over at Fightful. We appreciate that. Fightful.com. And the last thing I'll say as I get out of here, once again, being a reasonable person, level-headed. If I was to ever meet CM Punk in person, just want to make this very clear. Let me be very clear. If I was to ever meet CM Punk in person, even if you know who I was by face, which I don't think he does, I think he just knows me as like an avatar, maybe my name or whatever. Like, but if I met him in person, I put my hand out, I would want to shake his hand. I'd be super respectful. I would legitimately, you know what I mean? I don't hate this guy. I just don't like how he's doing business, and I don't like.
You don't like his actions.
I don't, and I love AEW, and this all hurts AEW. I feel like, and it's just not. This isn't when AEW started. This was not the original vision of the company, and I hope things can get all figured out. I wish nothing but, honestly, I don't want anything bad to happen to CM Punk or his family. I just don't like how he's doing business, and that's my opinion of it. So, anyway, thanks for having me on here, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jensen. Always love. I knew it was the right decision to tell you to come on as we talk about CM Punk. But thank you for joining us, good brother, and enjoy your birthday and the rest of the weekend, sir.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Gemini.
Oh shit, it's your birthday today?
On Monday, but pretty close. Me and SP3 SP3's on the 18th. I'm on the 22nd. So this is our joint birthday together.
Why are there
But you're a
so
Gemini,
many-
he's a Taurus.
I am a Gemini, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are there so many May wrestling media?
We talked about that earlier, me and SP3
Yes.
on Degrassi dudes. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Every great wrestler and content creator is in the month of May, it seems.
Every great wrestler.
Will Ospreay, The Rock, Bryan Danielson, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins.
There's some
Okay,
good ones.
point taken. Never mind. Let me be quiet.
Now I feel bad that I share a birthday with Hulk Hogan. I mean, I always feel bad
You
about
shouldn't
that.
say that. You don't say that you share a birthday with Terrence from Florida.
Oh,
It's
that's
okay.
fine.
Terrence, we call him Terrence
I
from
also
Florida.
share a birthday with Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
Now that's
So,
great. That's a good.
like,
That's a
same
good balance.
year,
Sure.
Same year. We're
I
both
share-
turning 40 this year.
Nice. I share a birthday with Daniel.
We're both equally successful in our career.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know. I share a Danielson on the 22nd, and my dad coincidentally shares.
April has a
with,
lot of great wrestlers. Well, females. Excuse me.
Oh, April, yeah.
Yes.
My dad shares a
Charlotte,
birthday
Bianca.
with,
We're all Aries.
Jericho.
Let's like period. Okay, thanks.
But,
Thank you, Jensen.
yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you,
Good
brother.
seeing you, SP3 again. Good seeing you, Krssi.
Yes.
Good hearing you, Chris.
Take it
You guys
easy,
have a good
dude.
one.
Later, brother. But as one Fightful person leaves, we gotta bring in another. He's a
What?
knowledgeable person to talk
Sounds like
about
a hot tag.
all things professional wrestling. As we're gonna talk a little bit about AEW Rampage, some other AEW news, WWE, and all that good stuff. Scott E. Wrestling, Scott Edwards of Fightful, 5-Star Joshi Show, everywhere. This man is everywhere. Thank you, Scott, for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. I missed the CM Punk talk, so I think today was a good day.
I was like, I'm not gonna put him through that. I was like, Jensen said he would show up, so he
I've
could get all of
purposely
his.
not talked about it in every single way for a reason. So it actually worked out in my favor that I didn't wake up to answer you in time.
Work in your favor. We do have a super chat donation in the chat here. The Negro Buck Nick Jackson saying, again, we getting Tru Heel Heat pop culture podcast. We got to get Doc for that, because Doc I know talks a whole bunch about pop culture, and he tried to invite me on his Marvel podcast before. We're gonna get you,
nice.
Doc, for the Tru Heel Heat pop culture podcast if you're down.
I'm totally down. Me, Graham, and Phil haven't recorded the Marvel thing in a while. I'm not sure what we're doing with that. We're all like working completely different schedules. Phil obviously does Grapsody like 8 times a week, and so everybody's super busy, but that's what's great about it. But like, yeah, we just haven't had a chance. Graham just freaking finally watched Daredevil for the first time.
Oh yes, I saw that. I had to
Which one?
comment. Yes,
The show.
the show, the
Oh,
better one, not
Like,
the movie.
I thought you meant
Not
the movie. Okay.
Phil
No,
and
not the movie.
Phil and I have been yelling at him for 2 years to watch this damn show. And he's watching it like probably one episode a week or something. Like, I'm sure it'll be a slow process, and
Slow
it'll take him a month to get to the hallway fight.
Oh man, that's the best. All the hallway fights are the best. So, yes, we're gonna get that pop culture podcast going soon enough. Negro Bug, thank you for the super chat donation. We got Frantic World saying happy birthday to Jensen. Then a whole bunch of people just letting us know what birthdays they share with people. Kate did say, and I have a birthday with Lamar Jackson. Annika says, I have a birthday with HBK and Donald Glover. Donald Glover's a good one. Atlanta is
wow.
awesome. Atlanta's great.
Even though the
Atlanta's
last
a
season
good
was trash, but whatever.
Last season was not trash. That was hilarious. The Goofy movie episode. I'm sorry.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
one of
but
the
no, it had
greatest things
episodes
ever.
that was good, but the whole
The
season
great-
overall, SP, you're reaching, friend. You're reaching. Stop it. You stop. Okay.
It's not as good as
Okay.
season 2, but it's right up
Right.
there. Right up there. And yes,
Fine,
Frantic World, I
whatever.
agree. Yeah, that Daredevil movie was so bad. Yes.
Like,
That's what, and then they got the nerve to give it to him to do Batman. Like, what? Why? What are we thinking? He's not a good superhero. Like, stop
All
giving
right.
him jobs.
That was our pop culture segue. Now we can get back to some wrestling. Last night, AEW.
Oh my God, is that Tony Schiavone on your thumbnail? I love it.
yeah, this is the picture that
amazing.
Mel Coleman made after he yelled at MJF and called him a prick. That night she drew this in like 2 hours.
I love that. That's one of the best
everybody should follow at Mel Coleman Art. She is literally the best.
She is awesome. Definitely great artist. So definitely go out of your way to follow her. But yes, last night you had AEW Rampage, which I thought was actually a watchable episode of AEW Rampage. It actually accomplished.
Damn.
It actually accomplished things, though. You had the Blackpool Combat Club defeating Best Amigos in a fun trios opener. Jade Cargill pulled off back-to-back wins to go 59-0 in her TBS Championship Open Challenge. Post-match, Taya Valkyrie returned to lay out Jade with the Road to Valhalla and then challenged her for Double or Nothing. That match was made official. You also had the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy announced that they will face the Guns and Ethan Page at Double or Nothing with Page's contract on the line, but the former Firm members attacked the Hardy Party, ending with Ethan Page pulmonizing Brother Zay with a chair around his neck. You also had Chris Jericho rip up his injunction against Adam Cole, banning him from the building, and then challenge him to an unsanctioned match at Double or Nothing. The two men then got into a pull-apart brawl afterwards, and then you had Dustin Rhodes defeat Bishop Khan in a bloody main event because it's Dustin Rhodes, and if he's in a main event, he's gonna bleed. Post-match, the Mogul Embassy jumped Dustin before Keith Lee made the save, but the numbers got the better of Lee with Cage hitting an F5 on Keith Lee and then Swerve hitting the Swerve Stomp with Lee sitting in a chair. Scott, I know you're a big
Sorry, who's that sexy man that was standing next to Swerve?
That's
Not the
Bishop
one in the
Khan.
purple.
That's Bishop
Or
Khan.
pink.
I knew which
No.
one you were talking about. I said Bishop Khan. But Scott, what did you think about the final segment? I know you're a big fan of Swerve. He was looking kind of yoked. He looking like he getting ready for that push.
I hope so.
I hope so. Sorry.
I watched it and I said, why is this match not on
Dynamite?
Not Dustin Rhodes versus Bishop Khan, I guess, but why is this not all happening on Dynamite? And once I saw the Hardys match added to Double or Nothing, I said, I'm not going to get Swerve and Keith Lee on Double or Nothing, am I?
Doesn't look like it.
Why, though? I've waited for 2 pay-per-views now, and I'm not going to get it again. And if you put it on Rampage, Tony, I swear to God, I'm going to have a talk with you. Like, don't do that to me. At least hold it for Collision or something at this point. Like, that's where I'm at. It's like, hold it for a actual TV show that people will watch on a weekly basis, please. If you're not going to put it on pay-per-view. But yeah, I'm a big Swerve guy. I just want this guy to be listen, if he's not going to be a champion tomorrow, that's fine, but I want him to be more important on these shows rather than just Rampage, where if I don't see the 30-second video that he gets, I miss Swerve every week. Like, I don't know how anyone could watch his stuff with Nick Wayne from Defy and think like, this guy isn't your next big heel. I just don't get it. And that's why I'm like, when his match happens in, I think it's July that Nick Wayne finally will debut. I can't wait for that. It feels like that'll be the launching point for Swerve, because he's probably gonna, brutalize poor Nick Wayne in his AEW debut. But man, it was a good overall segment, good match. But let's have Swerve and Keith Lee just have the blow off match already. It's been way too long now.
They've been feuding or teasing. They had their breakup in like November or December, and we're still haven't got the
Feeding off of them. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous at this point. Like, just get it done, please, sooner rather than later. I know you have made some comments on Twitter about Jade Cargill. What do you think about Jade versus Taya at Double or
Again?
Nothing?
Who are you
Doc,
asking?
not whoever. Doc, yeah, I said Doc.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, here's the thing. I wanted Jade to lose the title a while ago. But if you're going to get her to 59 wins, it's funnier if you give her 10 more before you finally have her lose.
69-0, yes.
Yes.
You know what? I'm done.
That joke is for Kate.
Oh my God, I can't.
But no, but for real though, like, I'm tired of the squash matches. I'm tired of the TBS title not doing anything for anybody. It's not helping Jade to hold that belt anymore. The undefeated streak doesn't feel special anymore. Like, let's just get it over with. Taya is a great choice. She's a legitimate veteran with good skills. Like, if you are going to pick anybody on the roster, might as well be her. Otherwise, if she retains, I really hope Statlander is back soon, because it probably was going to be her before she got injured.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So if it's not going to be Taya at Double or Nothing, I just hope Chris Statlander is coming back sooner rather than later.
am.
Yep, my daughter says the same thing. She agrees.
I'm about to say Harlem agrees. No, I am a fan of Jade. It's just become stale. It's to the point where, like, how many squash match can you have? And I know she's so much better than this. Like, why do we have her training with the best people if we're not going to give her like credible matches? What are we holding her hostage for?
Yeah,
she can move. She can do these things. It's like, you guys don't think that she's capable of doing a great match? Like,
the last time they gave her a good match, she did a good job.
Yeah. Like, stop being like so hesitant and like try to carry it out.
Yeah, I just hope they figure it out. And I mean, the feud with Taya, I think, has been effective in what they've been trying to do. They did have like one or two ideas, and they've just dragged it until the pay-per-view, though. I will say that.
I've never seen an undefeated streak hurt someone as much as it's hurt Jade. Like, I've never seen that happen. there was a point, like a perfect point. I think it was around the Athena match where I was like, all right, we can drop this title anytime now. I know she's dominant. I know she's a force.
Yeah.
And of course she beat Athena. I was like, okay, that was a choice, but it was supposed to be Chris. Chris then got hurt, and I was like, all right, you have to have a backup option. You have to. And
they don't.
Tony's just stayed with it. It's a bold choice because I think with Jade, like, she obviously has the makings to be someone really special.
Yes.
Right? Like, she has the presence, obviously, but I think in the ring she could. But when, like you guys said, it's like, if she's not getting matches that are more than 3 minutes, and if she's not getting matches of meaning, right? Besides, let's just toss her on the Rampage for 3 minutes and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
How is she supposed to be getting better? She's someone that would be so much better if she was wrestling on a weekly basis, let alone, daily basis almost. Yeah, I think she would be so much better now, and she should be so much better now, but it's not really her fault. I'm not blaming her for that.
Right.
So the sooner she loses the belt, the better she's off. If that's the Taya, so be it. I mean, I thought the win should have went to someone with, that
could help elevate them
on the way up.
Yeah.
Yes.
To me, like, Taya, we know what Taya is. We know who Taya is.
She doesn't need it. Yes.
No, she doesn't.
Like,
but it would be a way to Willow.
It would be a way to set her up. To set her up on the roster, and I think with Willow, they're planning on pushing her more in ROH. By the way, that booking leads to, and the great match she had with Athena. So I think that it would be a way to establish Taya Valkyrie that she's going to be a player in AEW if they gave her the win.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Sorry.
One note of news from AEW before we move on to some WWE. Bryan Danielson will apparently be involved in the creative for AEW Collision coming up.
Oh, nice.
According to a new report from Fightful Select, the Blackpool Combat Club member will be contributing to the creative for the upcoming Saturday show. According to those familiar to the matter, Danielson it did do some creative work in WWE, notably when he was out of the ring due to injury, and sources had said that great things about Danielson's work in WWE at the time. The main creative team for AEW right now is Tony Khan, Pat Buck, Will Washington, Sanjay Dutt, and QT Marshall, with Dean Malenko and Christopher Daniels also providing creative input in the regular as well. And Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, John Moxley, FTR, and CM Punk all have regular creative input into their own program. So at least they are kind of making a team, because I think that's what Tony Khan needs. He needs a team around him to figure out what he's doing with the creative, because he's getting spread very thin, especially with the 2-hour show coming up with Collision. So we got a super chat donation, a couple of super chat donations here. Keep those coming. We appreciate them all. We got Caden with the super chat donation, talking about Rampage last night. Thank you so much, Caden, saying shout out to Max for the rap. Greg Abbott, the worst. That was a nice little rap by the Acclaim. They got a win in 6-man tag team action. And then we also got a super chat donation from Chillin' with Chase. Thank you so much, Chase, for the big super chat donation. Bryan Danielson, Booker of the Year, baby. I said Bryan Danielson's going to be the first man ever to win Wrestler of the Year and Booker of the Year in the same year.
Nice.
Calling it right now. The GOAT. The goddamn GOAT. His birthday's coming up 2 days from now. Let's go. Let's go. All the birthdays in May. But let's move on to WWE Smackdown. Just wanted to ask Doc, how long we got you for? How much longer we got you for, good brother?
Honestly, I got nothing going on, man. I'm good.
He's here for the long haul. That's why I love you, Doc. Smackdown last night.
I won't. I will be totally useless during the New Japan talk.
It's totally fine.
Don't again, Doc. Just it's okay. I just listen.
Krssi like, welcome to my club. We gonna have a card game while they talk about New Japan.
That's what we could do, man.
I'll just be like Captain America every 5 minutes. Be like, oh, I know who that was.
Exactly. If you show me a picture, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's not the G1 climax. Then you would have heard Krissi's jokes about how that sounds like a porno. So
be like, yeah, I know who Will Ocean Spray is, right?
Thank you. WWE Smackdown last night, the show featured more bloodline drama as Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa had a face-to-face confrontation with undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, with Sami saying that Roman isn't as good as them or the Usos, which got under Roman's skin before Jimmy and Jay attacked the champs to the dismay of Roman, who got pissed off at them and unfortunately bumped into Solo Sikoa, which he looked kind of scared about. This led to the main event.
Right.
This led to Roman kicking the Usos out of his locker room after the commercial break and getting pissed off a little bit more, and then led to our main event where the Usos lost to the LWO, Santos Escobar and Roman Reigns in a very good main event thanks to interference from Owens and Zayn. You also had Pretty Deadly made their in-ring debut as they defeated the Brawling Brutes in the opener, and then you had Sheamus lay out Austin Theory with a bro kick to set up a U.S. Championship matchup for next week. Asuka beat Zelina Vega in a solid bout as well. Post-match, Bianca Belair came out to make the save when Asuka kept the Asuka lock on for too long. And AJ Styles appeared on the Grayson Waller effect, where Grayson Waller got the final word against the guy that's going for the World Heavyweight Championship. And they also teased Karrion Kross versus AJ Styles. So
like, what are we doing? What the like?
Two SmackDown feuds for the guy that you want us to believe is going to go over to Raw as the World Heavyweight Champion. Good job, WWE.
Yes, I've been missing for a week. So we have a championship match, right? That you said clearly this belt was going to Raw. So I'm confused on why we have AJ going against him if he's on SmackDown. That's just one, right? Then we have Bianca. Bianca is the champion that was traded from Raw onto SmackDown, but still has the Raw belt. I have so much question. Then we have the Alba Fire and there you go. That team who I I like a lot. They have the NXT championships on SmackDown. What the fuck are we doing? I am tired. I am tired.
We're gonna get to the thing why the brand split is completely dead.
It's fucking pointless. Like, why do we even do so we're not gonna do the whole belt debacle. Great, no problem. But now we have SmackDown belts on Raw. Belt that way. Like, what the fuck? Who is doing this? It gotta be kids, because there's no way that these are grown-ass adults making foolishness. There's no fucking way. No fucking way that we have champions going for a belt who we clearly know who will win because you wanted that belt over there. What the fuck are we doing? I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm okay.
I heard no lies.
I heard no lies. No lies at all right there.
Like
100%.
This is why I will not watch it. I'd rather watch the playoffs than watch wrestling, because it's pointless right now. The stories are pointless. We have one story which is kind of flatlining, almost up and down. We don't know what the fuck is happening. We have matches that keep reoccurring. We finally had new people come on to SmackDown, had debut matches when they was drafted 2 weeks ago. Now we have them to come. They debuted last night. They all win. Great. No big fucking woo. But what are we doing? What are we doing? Zelina Vega goes against Asuka to lose. Duh. Like, what are we fucking doing?
And the fans cheered Asuka after
then
she turned heel last week.
With
her chili pepper mist. Asuka.
Yes. Heard that one. That was.
I am tired. My head hurts so bad to all of this because it is so pointless. Now we have Liv is injured. We have who else is injured?
Dakota Kai is injured.
Dakota Kai is injured. So now we're forced to put Bayley and Io together when Io clearly does not want to be with Bayley. But whatever. Then
we'll get to that. We got that in
Raquel
the
now gonna have she has who's Raquel's partner now?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Why am I watching this? Like, why I'm like, and I love wrestling, and this is like, I'm okay. I'm sorry.
They make you very, very frustrated. What do you guys think? Start with you, Scott, about the latest in the bloodline drama. Is it coming back up? Because it feels like an EKG every week with the bloodline. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. I feel like I'm watching Anthony Davis in the playoffs.
Well, don't you know how it works? If Roman's there, it's good. If he's not there, who cares? That's how it
it.
works.
Like that, like you need dad to be there to make the thing like look good, because obviously the kids are not fucking listening. Like they want to do their own fucking thing. So now dad has to come to fucking work and make shit run properly.
Yeah, well, the bloodline is Roman Reigns.
Well, yeah, that too.
Like that's the thing, right? And like the way they did it yesterday, I was like, oh, this is a good angle. It's almost like you should have did this weeks ago. When
right,
because
that's where it was flatlining.
Exactly. And that's the problem with Roman, right? It's like he's not always there. And it's not a problem because it makes him feel more special. But when you want to do the same angle after WrestleMania that was so important to have Roman around for, it just, like you said, flatlines. I thought the segment on SmackDown was really good. And that is all my takes for SmackDown.
Yeah, I said it on the review last night. I was like, the stuff with the bloodline was good, but nothing else pretty much for me. Doc, any comments on SmackDown last night?
I mean, the thing where Roman almost looked afraid of Solo after he bumped into him was pretty great.
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah. I'll just copy and paste Krssy's whole thing and
we got a bunch of people say breathe, Krssi, just breathe, it's gonna be all right.
It's just annoying and it's frustrating to like, and then you have people that were like, oh, but it was so like they defend this debacle of like things that we love wrestling. Like
I think that makes it worse because they try to act like you're the one there's something wrong with you for is finding the logic holes in everything. It just does
like okay, if you could make it make sense, then I'd be like, all right, fine, I can meet you kind of like halfway. But like, why do we have you came on TV, Hunter, Paul, you come on TV and said we're gonna have the biggest thing, the biggest. Like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna just like stop. Okay, who is with you? Who's saying yes? You should do this. Like, I really need to know like who's behind the scenes saying, you know what, that makes sense.
Road Dogg.
Road Dogg's like, this sounds great. This sounds great. This sounds
like
great.
You can't like remember we would say like Vince would be Bruce Pritchard. Like it's kind of like that kind of like effect. Like who's back there saying, you know what? That's smart. Let's have the girls from NXT now on SmackDown with the belts. We have no women's champion because you idiots drafted her to fucking Raw when she should have been drafted from a long time ago. Now we have no champion. So that's that. Now we have no it's like they don't like the tag titles for women are cursed for both brands.
We got that in our news section. Might as well just bring it up now. Liv Morgan suffered an injury that resulted in the planned Women's Tag Team Championship match not taking place on Monday's Raw. WWE announced on Monday's Raw that Morgan suffered an injury during the tag match on last week's episode of SmackDown. Morgan and Raquel were supposed to defend against Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, but the match was canceled, and Rodriguez instead faced Chelsea Green. There was no word on the manner or severity of the injury, and then Fightful had an update saying that Liv Morgan was legitimately injured and it's not a mere storyline angle, and a couple of wrestlers reportedly got banged up during last Friday's women's tag team title match that included Dakota Kai. And then it was announced on last night's show that Morgan will be out of action for a considerable amount of time, so Liv and Raquel have to relinquish the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. There will be a fatal four-way match with Raquel Rodriguez and a partner of her choosing versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus SmackDown's Damage Control, Bayley and Io Sky versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville to determine new WWE Women's Tag Team champions on the May 29th episode of Raw. I think you put it in a great synopsis, Krssi. Everything that is wrong with the WWE draft. Because one, WWE proved in the past 8 months you didn't need to do a draft. Just putting people on whatever show was working for them. They were getting record ratings, making record buy rates, having the most watched this, the most watched that. They didn't need to do a draft. Then you had Paul come out on TV saying you're going to change the game with this WWE draft. All they changed was the fact that nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. You got the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. You got the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. You got
like
Paul
how
Heyman
confusing is that for them to
SmackDown.
even announce that when they come out? Like, oh yeah, we're on SmackDown. The Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Then spray paint it fucking blue or make it purple. I don't know. Like, do something.
Spray paint blue, paint it purple. Mix it purple, blue and purple, blue and red together.
Like, make it the
purple.
freaking hideous color you did with the damn NXT belt. Like, I don't know, but like, make like it's not. The math is not mathing. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't add up at all. You can't subtract one and add another one. Like, it's not working. The formula. Where's the formula? You know how you have the formula when you start a math problem? There's no fucking formula. You're just putting shit together.
Yeah. And to answer Annika in the chat, she's like, y'all believe Triple H is this crazy? Yes, I believe that Triple H is the one that doesn't want to do a belt swap. Because if this was Vince in charge, we would have just done a belt swap. And that one complaint would have been over. But I think that Triple H remembers how bad the belt swap is. But this is...
You don't have to do a belt swap. You just do it, get behind the scenes.
This has been Triple H one-on-one since he became in charge. Any problem that Vince McMahon created for him, he doesn't know how to solve it. He just lets it be. Roman has both titles. Oh, let's create a third world title. Like Austin Theory has Money in the Bank. Oh, well, let's have him cash in on a mid-card title. Like, he is not making any solutions to the problems that Vince McMahon gave him. He's making more problems.
Forgot Austin Theory cashed in on a mid-card title. That's pretty funny.
like, as much as I want to I would love to blame this on Vince McMahon. I think it would be a lot. I think that's what Triple H wants y'all to do. He wants y'all to blame it all on Vince McMahon. But this is Triple H 101. He does not know the solution to the problems that Vince McMahon gave him. Yes, Vince McMahon gave him those problems, but your job is to come up with a solution, and you have gave us zero. I'm sorry to call out Flawed Paul, or as Kaden said in the chat, Hunter Worst Hemsley. I
love that. That's yeah.
Like
that's what we're gonna have to do, because I it's just it. If you are a person and you've been in the business and you know the ins and outs and roundabouts and everything, you've married into this, so you have not learned anything. Like, what do? We need 101 teaching or something? Like, how to be a bad boss? Paul Levesque. End of story. Like, how to be the worst booker? Paul Levesque. Like, shit, you make Tony Khan look like a fucking angel.
We've already talked about Tony Khan and his.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm exact. Hello, it's being stupid. Like, come on, like
I know.
So it's like, how do you make the like? Let's make this like, oh yeah, let's do this, and then we do like, and like, what? What do we do? Like, why? Like, and then now we're about to have like these whole matches. We're gonna now have like these, like, just have everyone just go back and forth. Like, it was not a bad formula. Like, it worked. It wasn't bad. You still made people look good going back and forth. Like, I can see where you did Theory and Gunther. Sure, swap. Great. They have different belts. No problem. But then it's like, okay, the tag titles are being defended on Raw and on SmackDown because they're both belts. Great. But then you're like, let's just change the ladies. Oh, but no, wait. We're going to keep the guys over on Raw and on, and keep her here, but we're going to make her win the championship. Like,
yeah, I just don't understand why they're doing this title match on Raw with a SmackDown team. Like, if you wanted to do this match, the perfect spot was Night of Champions, but I guess you can't have that many women in Saudi Arabia.
You already have 3 women's matches on Night of Champions. You want 4?
Yeah, they're like Saudi Prince was like, no,
nah, yeah,
we have a
women, 8 more women.
Yeah.
Or WWE was like, we don't have enough fabric to cover all that skin. Come on.
I mean, the thing about the tag titles is like Liv Morgan got off easy. Now she doesn't have to tap out to Ronda Rousey. So it's like, because like Ronda and Shane are obviously winning these.
Right. My second would have been Chelsea and Sonya. But hey, we already know why they brought them back. Okay, fine. Let's finish that part. But it's like, what's the math about all of this? Like, Liv has been the winner of this all. Like, she's won the championship and she got the tag titles all in like what, 6 months? Now sit home and just relax.
Yep. Now you could just recover from the injury, but I guess we'll be talking more about what they do with this WWE Women's Tag Team Championships.
I need my bonnet and lay down. Shit.
She needs a cigarette after that. The other WWE note from SmackDown is WWE is offering refunds after incorrect promotional material advertised Roman Reigns for an upcoming house show appearance. He was supposed to appear in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but WWE has now issued the following statement to multiple platforms. Incorrect promotional material was released that advertised Roman Reigns in Fayetteville this Saturday, May 20th. Roman will not be in Fayetteville, so refunds will be available at the point of purchase until 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It was reported earlier this month that Roman Reigns was listed among talent for this year's Money in the Bank at the O2 Arena, and WWE made that confirmed this week that he will be there, as well as the SmackDown the night before in London, England. And then according to Worked Wrestling, one pitch discussed for Money in the Bank would see Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa team up together to take on the Usos. This would allow WWE to push back Reigns' next undisputed WWE Universal title defense until SummerSlam. Doc, I wanted to ask you, with Roman Reigns probably being on Money in the Bank and the rumor that he might be versing the Usos, this would mean that we wouldn't get a WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match for the first time since WrestleMania until SummerSlam. I feel like we're back in the early 90s and 80s again. What do you think, Doc?
They really play fast and loose with the rules here. Like, for years it was operated on a whole, you have to defend the belt every 30 days. That hasn't been a thing in a long time. I don't know. Like, maybe have Roman defend the title randomly on SmackDown one week and just beat the crap out of somebody, but I just, like, if the whole thing is let's get him to 1,000 days, all right, we're really close to that. We need to work towards the end game of who's gonna go over him and take that title. They had the perfect chance with Cody. They had the perfect chance with Sammy. At this point, like, if it's neither of them, it's got to be Jay, right?
Yeah, at this point. I mean, we've been saying that for months, that Jay Uso was the one that made the most sense to, if you want to complete the story, he would be the one to get the shot at.
Finish the story. It's finish the story, not complete. Oh, sorry. Just want
finish. No, I didn't even want to use that term because they've overused that term so much.
The part of me that, like, kind of likes to watch the world burn every once in a while is almost like, Goldberg is on this farewell tour.
Retirement match against Roman Reigns, why don't you? Book it.
Just have him come in, take the title from Reigns, and then retire and just leave the belts in the ring. Oh man. The world would blow up, but it would be funny.
I would love it. I would love it so much. I honestly want to take a break from WWE to give Krssi a break. After that discussion.
Do what you need to do, friend. It's okay.
Let's go back to talking about Nickelodeon shows. So what 90s Nickelodeon shows did you watch?
Make her feel better. Make her feel better after she went off. I know everybody's going to be clipping that one for
Clarissa Explains It All. Anybody?
There you go. Krssi Luv Explains It All. That's the new segment.
Taina was a great show as well. That's a hidden gem, Taina.
That was good. That was good. What about you, Scott? What's your favorite Nickelodeon show?
I was a big Jimmy Neutron guy.
Yeah.
Love Jimmy Neutron. I
Little
actually
after my
rewatched
time.
them in 2020. I rewatched the TV show.
Nice.
It was a great time. It was a great time.
Well, we'll let Krssi and Doc play some cards as we'll move on to New Japan before we go back to WWE. New Japan Pro Wrestling had their Best of Super Juniors day 3 through 7 this week. Day 3 featured Lio Rush defeating Hiromu Takahashi in an excellent main event. You had Francisca Akira beat Robbie Eagles in an absolute banger. You also had El Desperado beat Master Wato in a very good matchup. Speedball Mike Bailey defeated TJP in a great clash. Then day 4 featured Kushida picking up his first win in a wonderful technical wrestling clinic against Speedball Mike Bailey. Lio Rush defeated Taji Ishimori in a terrific main event. You also had
Russian wins.
Day 5 featured Speedball Mike Bailey beating Teton in a great matchup. Taji Ishimori basically eliminating Kushida in a very good contest in a Wrestle Kingdom 2019 rematch. You had Yo defeating El Desperado in a brilliant main event. Day 6 featured Master Wato beating Robbie Eagles in a good main event. Teton defeated Lio Rush in a fabulous sprint. Hiromu Takahashi defeated Kushida via countout in one of the wildest matchups of the damn tournament. They fought in the grass. They listened to CM Punk and they touched grass, ladies and gentlemen. And day 7 featured Lio Rush defeating Kushida in a very good bout. You also had El Desperado beat Dan Maloney in a hard-hitting affair. Taiji Ishimori defeating Speedball Mike Bailey in an excellent encounter. And Hiromu Takahashi defeating TJ Plea in a splendid main event. What would you say? Give us your top matches from this past week, Scott, from the Best of the Super Juniors. I know we were both high on the main event of day 7 for sure with TJP and Hiromu.
Way to put me on the spot. Off the top of my head, what happened this past week? I know you just went over it, but I have to remember dates wise. I can't say.
Well, you
Lio Rush and Hiromu.
Lio Rush. Yes, I know.
Yeah, Lio Rush and Hiromu was like phenomenal, obviously, because they were very different from their championship match, which I enjoyed. Like, there was a different pace to it. I think Lio Rush has been the story of the tournament, whether it's just his acceptance in Japan. Like, everyone just loves this guy. Obviously Desperado and Yo was like, that for me was like another coming out match for Yo, who I'm obviously such a big fan of. I have been for a long time. I loved his match with Hiromu for the title earlier this year. I thought that was his coming out party, actually. Yeah. But now this tournament has been another coming out party for him. It's almost like we're getting to the point where it's now or never for Yo, right? Like, you got to give him the belt or he's never going to get that spot. I don't think he's winning the tournament though. I wish he was, but I
like his
happy.
Swagger. He just has this happiness for him in the tournament so far.
Teaming with Lio was everything for him. He transformed himself as not only a wrestler but an entertainer just by working off of someone like Lio Rush. And listen, I'm gonna sing the praises of Lio Rush a lot, and we'll talk about Speedball, I'm sure, in a few minutes too. But it was a great week of action. I can't believe it's over next week.
Only you got day 8, which is the both blocks, and then you got the separate block nights with block A and block B having separate nights for the final block action, and then the semifinals and the finals is next Sunday. We haven't had you on the show in a while, Scott, so give us your finals prediction and your winner of the Best of the Super.
Oh boy, my finals prediction.
Who's left over?
Everybody is really in it, but there's a 4-way tie in the A block with Speedball, Lio Rush, Taiji Ishimori, and Hiromu. And then in the B block, it's a 4-way tie with, I believe, El Desperado, Robbie Eagles, Yo, and I want to say Francisco Akira. But
now, has any one of these guys ever won?
Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu.
Okay.
Well, Taiji Ishimori's always been to the finals, but he never. Has
Oh,
won
right. He's
one.
always champion when he goes.
Yeah, he's always the champion usually, but Hiromu has won 4, so he's the
Yeah.
only one out of like the guys that are still in the pack
He can't win
that
again.
is at the
Yeah,
end.
he can't win. He's not. You won already. You don't need to win
He's
again.
the champion. He's the champion. He's a 4-time winner and a champion.
Okay, yeah. Then you don't need.
If I had my preference, it would be Desperado and literally anyone else with with Desperado winning. But I think Taiji Ishimori is winning this year, which doesn't excite me. Listen, I'm gonna clue you in. I'm not a big Taiji Ishimori guy. I've been kind of bored of Taiji Ishimori for a few years now. So the fact that he's probably gonna win because they just go back to their guys every time, right? For me, when the tournament started, I was like, all right, it's gonna be Kushida, Taiji Ishimori, or El Desperado. I'm not gonna jump out and say like Speedball or Leo Rush. Let's not get crazy, right? Because this is for the Dominion show, and I feel like they want to go to a staple here because they're going to someone new, obviously with the World Heavyweight title. So it's almost like Desperado and Hiromu's the match to me, and it's always the match for the junior side of things. But it's been a while for Ishimori, like you said. He doesn't win this tournament. He just does everything else in the junior side of things.
Yeah, they've been really emphasizing how he has the best record of anyone in the tournament in the Best of Super Juniors, but they've been comparing him to a great regular season team that can't deliver in the playoffs.
Like the Warriors.
Oh, come on. The Warriors won championships. Come on.
They've won, but they've been horrible the last 2 years back to back. They've lost
just
in the
because
same
they let
season.
you down. Just because
It's
they let
okay.
you down.
They let a lot of people down. Okay, they let a lot of people down.
Just don't bring up my team and we're all good.
You said Warriors in 5. You said Warriors in 5. What happened to that?
Well, you said the Lakers in 5.
Lakers won. That's all that matters. It don't matter the number. It just matters that they won. And we're down 0-2 right now, so I understand your pain, Scott.
Hey,
I understand your pain.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Joe Mazzulla is getting dunked on every single game. It's great. Love it. But that's besides the point. Anyways, I think it's Ishimori and Desperado in the final. My preferred win is Desperado. My expected win is Ishimori.
Like you said, Speedball Mike Bailey, he's been my MVP. I've been rooting for him. Also, I wanted to shout out Kevin Kelly on day 6, who wished me happy birthday on air during the Best of the Super Juniors. Marked the hell out to that. And Speedball was on commentary for that show. So that was great.
You got 2 birthday shout outs. Nice.
You're doing the salute. I was like, did Sean Dean get in this tournament?
No, like John Cena. No. So I'm going with Speedball and Desperado in the finals. But I think
I like your final better.
Yeah, I think Speedball has kind of had a lot of great matches. Like Teton, that surprised the hell out of me how great that was. Taiji Ishimori on day 7, that was an excellent bout. But Speedball's been delivering. Still, the match of the tournament is Speedball and Hiromu on day 1.
I agree. Can I give you my hot take on Speedball that I had going into this tournament?
Go ahead.
I was legitimately worried. Because someone like yourself who's seen like every big Speedball match for the past 2 years, it's clear that he has like his style match. It's like, all right, let me miss my double knees one way or the other. Let's, do all this. But he's changed it up in this tournament, and it's been a breath of fresh air. And he has to because he's facing all these new guys, right? Like that match with Hiromu felt so different from his usual matches. The match with Teton, again, felt so different from his usual matches. He's had a phenomenal tournament. If I call Leo Rush the story of the tournament, Speedball is the MVP of the tournament. I totally agree. He's had great showing after great showing. I'd love to see if one of them got to the finals, just because I feel like having the international talent in there wouldn't be a bad thing, especially because they've kind of been the highlights, except for Dan Baloney. Yes, I called him Baloney. I can't stand the guy. He's so boring. But I think everyone else has been a highlight. I think Francesco Akira is a stud in the making. I think TJP's really showed out, and TJP's a guy I kind of got bored with after a while. But from Catch 22 to this tournament, he stood out. I like an international guy to hit that final. I think Speedball or Leo Rush deserves that spot. And if either of them lost to El Desperado, I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, I think I'm just with you. I know Jay News had the same pick. We're all going for El Desperado. He needs to finally win the finals. So we're in agreement there. But
It feels more meaningful for him as opposed to Taiji Ishimori. Like, we've all accepted Ishimori's just done everything, right? Desperado still feels like he's never been champion despite being champion. Like, I want him to win and beat Hiromu at Dominion. That feels like the ultimate, like, okay, Desperado is our guy now, right? I have some fear though, because I know he's doing some outside dates still and whatnot. So it's like, is this a Sonata scenario? Like, are we just not going to go with this guy because he's not like full time? I hope I'm wrong. He can at least win the tournament. Like, if Hiromu kept the title, I wouldn't be upset. Hiromu's on the run of his life right now, so it wouldn't be that bad. But fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed all around for Desperado. But thank you so much, Scott. So Krssi Luv could take a breather, and Scott could get his, he's like jotting down notes of, okay, I know Hiromu, how do you spell it? So we were able to talk about Best of Super Juniors here. Thank you so much for joining us, Scott. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media and what you got going on across all your many platforms, sir.
Yeah, of course. You can follow me at Scotty Wrestling, as it says. Oh, wrong point right there. You can check out my stuff at Fightful. Check out my 5-star Joshi show. I do a lot of Joshi content. If you follow me, you'll figure that out very quickly. We've been doing some really cool stuff. Next weekend is Flashing Champions for Stardom, so another big week coming up for me in terms of content. So if you want to jump into Stardom at any time, we have a double title match coming up, so that'll be a lot of fun. You can also check out my other podcast. I do Ring Post Radio every Sunday morning, talking about the big happenings in wrestling. So I'll finally have to talk about CM Punk against my will. I've held back. Listen, I'm a CM Punk fan, so that shouldn't tell you like how I feel about it, but I am a CM Punk fan. He's one of my all-time favorites. That being said, I stare at the camera for a reason. There are situations that we got to discuss because it hasn't been a pretty time to be a CM Punk fan, but I'm excited for Collision. I'll just say that, okay? But thank you so much for having me once again. Hope to be back here on the channel soon in the future.
Yes, I'll probably hit you up so we could do something on Twitch for Flashing Champions, because I need my Stardom expert as per usual. Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate you, good brother. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
Later. And we got another hot tag as Scott is out. We're gonna put in another hot special guest here with us, joining us for the first time here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Someone I've been wanting to have on for a very long time. He's asked me to be on his platform as well. The co-host of Between Two Beards on Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see him. Love Wrestling CA contributor, content creator. It is Pluggo joining us. Thank you, Pluggo.
Hey!
Being patient in the backstage area. I appreciate you, good
It's
sir.
all good, my friend. I'm just here to put some respect on the secret life of Alex Mack.
Oh!
We're talking 90s.
Turn into a puddle, y'all. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand. You need to turn into
Only
a puddle.
reason I'm here. Put some respect on that show.
Come on. Come on. How dare you, Doc? Doc, you didn't mention Secret World of Alex Mack. Come on. Come on,
I didn't
Doc.
realize. I mean, was I supposed to chronicle every show from A to
Yes.
Z?
Right.
You mentioned Krssi explains it all. Put some respect on the Secret World of Alex Mack. Come on.
Well,
y'all.
okay. Who was the main actress in Alex Mack?
I remember her because she
But I
was
know her
one of
face.
Sean Hunter's. She was one of Sean Hunter's many girlfriends on Boy Meets World.
Yes.
I
But
just
you-
remember that.
But you damn well know Melissa Joan Hart was the star. That explains it all. That's all I got to say about that.
You got me there. You got me there, sir. It was Larissa Olenek.
Well, now that I've caused a riff, I'll see you guys later.
Olenek. Olenek.
He knew it. He knew the last name too. He was just trying to play me. He's trying to put me on the spot.
Well, no,
Look
as
at
soon
this
as you
guy.
said it, I knew who she was. But yeah, she Olenek, it's like Ole, Like, but
Ole, 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 ole. Pluggo getting some pops in the live chat. Love
That's
wrestling.
just
is
the
here with
boss
us.
making sure I don't screw something up. Hey, boss.
No, you're getting your love. Ryan saying, Pluggo!
Hey!
Francie Burrell saying, what's up, Pluggo? And we also got Annika saying, nice to put a name to the face, Pluggo. See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got to shout SP3 for all the hots. My wife doesn't even give me that many hots when she describes me, man.
And your wife's in the chat here.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. The love.
She's a big fan. Hi, Mrs. Pluggo. Hi, honey.
Love it. We brought you in. I told you beforehand we are just going to talk about Impact. Well, we got some WWE to chat. I had to give Krssi Luv a break after that rant he had. I
was enjoying all of it. It was quite the banter, man. It's just getting heated. I was with you. I'm glad you didn't have me on like early with the CM Punk stuff and then that WWE draft stuff. I could have gone for about 3 hours and just how fired up I am.
We could definitely talk about it. Just.
Oh my God.
But I don't know which one is worse, to be honest.
They're very frustrating to all of us. But
very frustrating as a fan to like really sit down and enjoy these things when they just do such foolishness.
When they make you feel like you don't know what you're watching.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the rules? We're gonna talk a little bit here about WWE Raw this past week. They did 1.785 million viewers. The show featured the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeating undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a very good non-title main event, thanks to interference from Imperium, the meddling of Paul Heyman, putting everybody against Owens and Zayn. You also had Becky Lynch cut a passionate promo to challenge Trish Stratus to a showdown at Night of Champions, and also had Mustafa Ali won a very fun number one contenders battle royal that set up JD McDonough versus Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle as a future challenger for Gunther, and Mustafa Ali will face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions. Pluggo, what was your main highlight from this week's Raw?
Well, it was that battle royal, because sometimes battle royals can get kind of hokey and all over the place, but like this one felt like they gave everybody like something to do. I feel super bad for Mustafa Ali though. I think Gunther's going to slap him into the second row with one of those chops. As much as I love what Ali's doing, I'm just poor guy. That chest of his is just going to be ravished. But no, I enjoyed the battle royal. Was awesome. I had a good time with that. Like I said, it gave people something to do, which is what you want instead of just spot after spot. So that was fun. The Becky Lynch promo I thought was awesome. I'm a Becky Lynch stan, so anything she does, I'm usually a huge fan of. And I just want to see Becky Lynch and Trish. Like, I can't wait for it to happen. I'm excited. That's happening at Night of Champions, if I'm not mistaken. So, let's go, because it feels like it's taken a little while. Like, they drug it out a little bit with the Becky's missing stuff. But, hey, we're finally going to get it. So, overall, I enjoyed Raw. I thought Raw was a good time. Starting to give some storylines to some of these new people that have been drafted, as well as you're still telling stories for people that aren't on the show. But hey, whatever. Whatever. What's the brand split? What's the brand split? I don't know.
What is it? They don't know.
The worst part about it is it takes them literally maybe like a little bit extra effort just to explain this stuff to us, and we'd be fine.
Like, could you have Michael Cole explaining why Apollo Crews is now back on Raw? Like, oh yeah, he went back over to NXT and had a stand of it. Well, not what's the boy name? I can't. Not Michael Cole. What's the other guy name that's on Raw?
Ryan Patrick, Kevin Patrick.
Yes, Kevin Patrick. Yes, sorry, Patrick. But yeah, you have them explaining these things on the commentator table, like the fans in the crowd can hear you saying these things. Oh yeah, he's back after like doing a stint and getting himself better on NXT. Like what? Huh? Like, what are you saying, sir? Like,
very confusing.
I marked out for Mustafa Ali. I was very happy for him. I was like, okay, well, fine. He's gonna lose, but at least he got at least a good, credible win instead of like jobbing to like foolishness.
It would be bad. We got to stay positive. Ali wants us to be positive and
positive Ali.
Positive Ali that he's going to lose to Gunther.
He colors his hair. He takes the braids out. And now he's positive. Great. Sure. Like we don't see the changes that you guys invoked in him. Great. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Doc about this particular note from Monday Night Raw that WWE superstar and World Heavyweight Championship contender Seth Rollins wasn't exactly on the show. He had an interview segment, but he was spotted this week on set for the upcoming Captain America New World Order film. He was seen on set in full wardrobe in Atlanta, Georgia, because of that project. As reported by Worked Wrestling, the interview segments with Rollins that aired on Raw were actually pre-taped because obviously he wasn't at the show. The concern becomes whether these kind of movie roles are going to become commonplace for Rollins, which would mean similar situations where he won't be able to be present at WWE shows, and that kind of defeats the whole premise of having the New World title be on a full-time star, unlike the undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. If Rollins wins and then ends up with more movie roles, it would kind of defeat that whole point. Because of all of this, there was reported a hesitance to put the title on him, though Worked Wrestling said that it was only a minority of people that felt this way. And according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Rollins will miss this Monday's episode of Raw because he will be continuing to film the Captain America movie. I know you're a big Marvel fan, Doc. What do you think about Seth being in the upcoming Captain America movie? And do you think this is going to lead to more for him?
I mean, it looks like he's in the Serpent Society, maybe. And I have a feeling he's not going to be a very big character. He'll probably be a henchman who dies really quickly.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, like, look at where most of these WWE people start in their acting career. Like, Batista was on an episode of Smallville getting his butt handed to him by Tom Welling. You know, you got to pay your dues, I guess. But, like, the fact that they cut Becky Lynch out of Eternals and now her husband is going to be in a movie, like, that feels criminal to me.
Hey, that's revenge for Seth for Becky getting the main event of WrestleMania 35. That's how it works.
Okay, sure. Whatever.
Soul for a soul. It's Marvel. Soul for a soul.
I don't think.
Soul for a soul. Wow.
I don't think he's gonna run off to Hollywood or anything like that. I think Seth likes wrestling too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has that drive to be the Hollywood star like The Rock did, you know.
He gets there and gets that bug, though. I will say the WWE does know how to handle not having a world championship around for 3 years, so they probably could make it work.
They'll figure it out somehow, right?
Just say, there's a reason they created this title was to avoid this problem, but at least they know how to handle it when it comes back up again. They'll just create a fourth title.
Circling the trains as they do. Final Raw note that I wanted to touch on: Randy Orton has been off of TV, of WWE TV, since May of last year, and Bob Orton gave some information in regards to that, speaking with Bill Apter for WrestleBinge Sportskeeda. He said that, and I quote, "He's training. We'll see what happens. I don't know if he feels like going back or when it feels like he's ready to go back. I think he might. Then again, he's pretty well taken care of. I don't think he needs to. I think the doctors have told him not to, and Randy will do what Randy's going to do." Randy Orton has been dealing with back injuries as of now, there's no word on when he might return to the ring. But hearing that doctors have told him that he shouldn't return to the ring, do you think? What do you think is the chances that Randy Orton would be able to say he'll call it a career, Krssi Luv? What do you put the percentage at, 0 to 100?
Ooh. That he will not come back, you mean?
Yeah.
45?
That's pretty high. I think that Randy Orton loves wrestling. So
he loves it. I feel like he will come back, but I feel like 45% chance that he's like 1 foot in, 1 foot. Like he'll be like a Brock Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do that, sir. You've done everything. You don't need to be full time. So you can do like 45%, like here this way. You know, you don't have to do everything. It's okay.
Pluggo, what do you think? What do you think you put the percentage on here?
But real quick, hi Owen. My son's watching. My little son. Hi Owen. How are you? Daddy's right here. I had to shout him out. I got to shout out the little guys. My buddy.
Of course.
He's probably like wondering what I'm doing. If I'm Randy Orton, if I'm Randy Orton, I think it's pretty high that he comes back because he would want to come back. I guess he's done everything. He doesn't. I don't think he wants to go out like that. And we've seen everybody and their mother return after these career-ending injuries. So 20% that he doesn't come back. I think there's a chance he'll come back at some point. Never say never, right? I feel bad. Like it's Randy Orton, man. I want to see him have like a final run, So.
And especially after we never really got Triple H having a retirement match, to now find out like one of his proteges potentially couldn't have it. That would be sad for wrestling fans. And that's why I asked, rather than asking would he return, what's the likelihood he's coming back? Because I feel like Orton loves wrestling. That the question is, would he actually think about calling it a career to prevent himself from any more injuries? Let's ask.
I don't think anybody would blame him.
No. You got to think about your livelihood and think about wanting to walk when you're older, when you're your dad's age. Doc, what about you? What do you put the percentages on Randy Orton potentially not coming back to the ring?
I mean, unless they tell him like, hey, you're going to be paralyzed if you take one more bump. We'll probably get a retirement match out of him at some point or another. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see a title reign or another full-time run out of him. And we don't really need to. I mean, he's had a great long career, like pretty much exclusively in WWE.
Yeah.
I don't think he has anything left to prove. So, although I will say that I would have liked him to have been the one to actually break Flair's record, not tie it. Like
would have fit the story. Yeah.
But it is what it is. You can't go back and change the past.
Right.
And we got Rickety in the chat who says he may return, but I doubt he will wrestle again. So yeah, we might get a Triple H situation where he just comes back to say, hey, I got to call it a career or something like that. And Ryan saying Edge came back and we were told it wasn't going to happen. So yeah, it can always change in the next couple of years, but I don't know how much longer he can be out without saying anything, because it's been over a year now. But finally, with WWE, we had NXT this week. They did 601,000 viewers. The show featured Roxanne Perez beating JC Jane, while Cora Jade defeated Fallon Henley to advance in the NXT Women's Championship Tournament. Those two matches will go down next week, as it's going to be Roxanne Perez versus Tiffany Stratton and Cora Jade going one-on-one with Lyra Valkyrie in the semifinals of the tournament, with the winners going on to Battleground. You also had the Creed brothers beat the Dyad in a good tag team matchup. Following the match, the Creeds challenged Callis to an NXT Tag Team Championship match at NXT Battleground. Wes Lee and Tyler Bate were jumped by the Schism, leading to Lee accepting the challenges of both Joe Gacy and Tyler Bate for a triple threat match at Battleground. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams defeated Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak to end the show. Bello got into a big brawl with Braun Breaker to set up their Battleground main event. This was kind of if you missed it, shrug type of episode of NXT for me. I don't know what you guys thought.
Playoffs.
It was kind of it was kind of like a maintenance show, basically getting them to Battleground. They made some.
We don't
matches,
have a women's champion. We don't have tag titles. What are we watching?
Krssi Luv, I love
the deadliest backstage area in wrestling history. That's what we're watching.
You mean parking lot?
Parking lot backstage. The backstage is getting a little violent too, Doc.
They had
over.
They had Dragunov get tortured on the episode. If you guys watched, he got tortured for a full 2 hours.
But was that in his private torture dungeon, or was that backstage?
We don't know. The world may never know.
Because he has one. It's Dragunov. But man, okay. So more of why the draft is pointless. Why is Roxanne in any of this? Isn't she on NXT or isn't she on SmackDown now?
No, she didn't get
No,
drafted.
she didn't get
For some
drafted, yeah.
reason. She didn't get drafted.
Oh, yeah, because at the time she was a champion. That's why they had the belts.
Wasn't she just
No.
on an episode of
Indy
SmackDown?
was
though?
the champion.
She was on a episode of SmackDown a few months back, but the Roxanne
Okay,
for some
so
reason
she hasn't
wasn't
officially been called up.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Gotcha.
only reason she's in this tournament is kind of like some credibility. I have a feeling Tiffany Stratton's going to figure out a way to get this done. There's
Finally, they should have
like-
did that from before and
yeah,
not
they
give
should
to
have
Indy,
did that.
but whatever.
I thought exactly, and then Indy got hurt, and then she got drafted, and it's a mess. Like they just
dumb.
It's hard to watch NXT from start to finish every week. Like sometimes I have to just be like, all right, the Hulu version the next morning. It's only 45 minutes long, and get it in, get it out, be done.
Why are they so invested in these cowboys?
That has been
Like,
some of the worst acting I've ever seen, but it's so bad that you're just like, okay.
I
like
feel
it.
at home with those because it feels like a teen drama. The whole Brooks and Jensen and Fallon Henley and Kiana James. It feels like an episode of Cowboy Dawson's Creek.
I'll see you behind the bleachers after third period.
It feels like a porno that never gets to the good part. That's how bad this acting is.
I wouldn't know what you're talking about, Doc.
On the nose. He's like, my missus and my kid is watching, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Mrs. Pluggo is in the chat, Doc. I don't know what you mean by good parts.
He knows what you mean.
Yes, exactly.
You had Ring of Honor TV this week on Honor, because moving on swiftly.
I'm sorry.
The show featured.
Well, this has been fun.
He was like, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Did I just end the podcast? I'm sorry.
The show featured Darius Martin and Action Andretti beating the Kingdom in a crazy Fight Without Honor main event. You also had Ray Phoenix defeating Gringo Loco in a super fun opener. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated AR Fox in a rock solid Styles clash to retain the NJPW World Television Championship. And what I've been saying lacking on this show is actually storytelling. We had some storytelling after the match. Post-match, ZSJ called himself the most active TV champion in the business, which led to ROH TV champion Samoa Joe confronting him. And then Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal came out to challenge both men, which led to ZSJ proposing the TV champs team up to face them next week. Doc, I see you've been watching ROH TV. What did you think about this week's episode? I thought it was one of the better ones that they've put together, namely because it's in Universal Studios. That's always makes the better episodes for the show.
It's way better whenever they're at the studio. You have a better crowd. You have longer shows, frankly. We were only getting 90 minutes regularly whenever they were with AEW. So, but man, they got to stop packing 11 matches onto every one of these shows.
Yeah.
It's
too much.
I know you're trying to feature as many of your talents as you can, and I appreciate that, especially when it comes to the women. Like getting 3 women's matches every week regularly is pretty great. But my God, just give me the occasion. What?
As a guy that doesn't, I don't watch a ton of the Ring of Honor stuff because it's kind of conflicting with podcasting and things. Couldn't they, since it's on Honor Club, do like 8 matches and maybe give you 3? Like, here, check this out on the weekend. This is what we taped, instead of packing it all into one.
Theoretically, they could make every show 6 hours long if they wanted to. It's
Whatever they want.
But it just goes like match, interview, match, segment, match. Like it is, and there's no commercials.
Nope.
It is a breakneck pace. And I think maybe I don't like it because I cover the show for Bleacher Report, so it makes my life hard. Maybe if I was just a viewer, I wouldn't care as much. But like, I never watched Dark and Elevation for the same reason. It was kind of just like, and I don't know, Ring of Honor. I love what they're doing with a few things, like Athena, amazing.
Great. Yeah.
All this
Yes.
stuff with the Righteous so far has been really fun, but they really have got to start like working on some of these other divisions. Where are the tag team champions? Like, we've seen the 6-man champions together one time in the last like 2 months. They just need a little bit more cohesion there, and it feels like they don't have enough of a division between who's in AEW, who's in ROH.
That is true.
They need to start, like they need to work on that.
Well, like do an actual brand split.
More of this soft brand split. We need a hard, rock hard brand split here.
Like, and I understand that you might want people like Eddie Kingston, because he brings name recognition, to float between both companies, or a Claudio. But like, you know, label Willow as Ring of Honor, label Athena as Ring of Honor, Mercedes, and then, you know, actually build some of these divisions up a little bit. And then if you want to move them back to AEW at some point, because Tony did go on record and say like ROH is going to kind of serve as a developmental brand for AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I think we're starting to see some of the darkification is what I called it. Like, they're turning it into AEW Dark 2.0, which isn't a bad thing if you liked AEW Dark.
Yeah, but this one has a little bit more story than AEW Dark even did.
Sure, so. But give me like 8 quality matches instead of 11 with 3 squashes.
Yes, I agree. I agree there. And then our final What We Missed show was Impact on Access TV, which was a regular, noticeably big show because they had the in-ring debut of Trinity, her getting the win over Kylan King in a fun little matchup. You also had Trey Miguel beat Laredo Kid in a fun opener. Post-match, Miguel demanded respect, leading to Chris Sabin, who came out and cut a spirited promo to further develop their X Division Championship match coming up at Under Siege. Alex Shelley, Jonathan Gresham, and Yuri Uemura defeated Eddie Kingston. No, not Eddie Kingston. Excuse me. You got Eddie Kingston on my mind. Eddie Edwards, Frankie Kazarian, and Moose in a very good 6-man tag team main event as well. And we'll give you the quick predictions for Under Siege. But first, we got Krssi Luv's favorite segment, Match of the Week, as we're going to give you our top 5 matches of the week. Doc, we'll go to you last so you have time to think about what you thought was the best 3 matches from this week. As per usual, Krssi Luv, you know how many I'm going to give. I'm going to give 5 as per usual because I watch a whole bunch of wrestling. Watch too much wrestling, my missus says. But honorable mentions.
Your life is wrestling.
Same. My wife says the same. I think too much wrestling.
Wrestling and power. Wrestling and power. Power has been awesome. Honorable mention, Speedball and Teton, as well as Roderick Strong versus Chris Jericho from AEW Dynamite. Now, my number 5, I got from ROH TV, Kingdom versus Darius Martin and Action Andretti. Crazy fight without honor match that actually got over this makeshift tag team. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Taiji Ishimori from Day 7 of Best of Super Juniors is number 4 for me. Number 3, Francisco Akira versus Robbie Eagles from Day 3 of the Best of the Super Juniors. Number 2, Hiromu Takahashi versus TJP from Day 7 of the Best of the Super Juniors. And number 1, Hiromu Takahashi versus Leo Rush from Day 3 of Best of Super Juniors. Just Best of Super Juniors. Go out and watch it. So
all
many
of it
every single day. Krssi Luv, what was your 3 or 5 from this past week?
I have 3. Nothing crazy. From Impact, I have the Trinity debut against what's the girl's name? Dave, you just said it.
King.
Yes, that's number 3. Number 2 would be I want to say it is the I'm going to give it to the women's tag match on AEW which was the Rejects versus
The Outcast, not the
the
Rejects.
Outcast.
Tell them how you really
Ouch!
feel.
Tell us how you're. Yeah. Whoa.
Versus Britt
That's not
Baker
really
and
how-
Hikaru Shida.
That's not how I really feel, but yes, it's the closer name. Sorry, that's the name that came into my head. And then number one. Sorry. Then number one, I'm going to give it to the debut of and I'm not really a fan of theirs, but they are making me be fans of theirs. This is SP's group, Pretty Deadly, versus the Brawling Brutes. I thought they were hilarious yesterday in their little vignette when they was like getting the fake bowl and they were mixing it in a little mixture. I think they're hilarious.
Recipe for
yes,
success.
The recipe to success, mates. Yes, the little Aussie accents.
Pluggo, what's your matches of the week this past week?
I didn't rank them. I just wrote them down. So sorry, this is in no particular order. But for me, I got to shout out our guy over here at Love Wrestling, Michael Richard Blaze, who did an 8-hour Infinity Gauntlet match this past Saturday. 8 hours straight. I couldn't say you know what I'm saying? I couldn't have a match of the week list and not put that man over. My goodness. He wrestled everyone from his wrestling school, the Clandestine Society. It was fantastic. I'm still chipping away at a lot of it, but I mean, the big chunk that I've seen, fantastic stuff. I can't believe he's still walking. I had the Battle Royal from Raw that we talked about earlier. Like I said earlier.
Yeah, that was good. Yes.
A lot of fun stuff happened there. A lot of stories came out of that. I wrote down Big Bill, Lee Moriarty versus Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin from Dynamite. That was a lot of fun. Big Bill looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I wish we had a better name. Yeah,
I hate the name Big Bill.
Rad.
It just seems so
soft.
Yeah, like Big Bill, and then you look at him like, no, that's the dude that was with Enzo. Like,
but I definitely enjoyed that match. But the name's got to go.
I thought it was just me. Okay, great. All right.
No, it's not. Trust me, it's terrible. I did have Trinity versus Kylan King. I thought the match was fantastic. It's awesome to see Trinity / the former Naomi in a wrestling ring again, doing her thing. And Kylan King has been on this trajectory of just the upswing for a while now. And then I have Matt Cardona and Jacob Fatu from House of Glory last night. Matt Cardona won the House of Glory World Championship last night. It was a lot of fun match. Steph DeLander got involved. I had a good time. There's a lot of good stuff in wrestling this week.
Yes. The indie belt collector, Matt Cardona.
Indie God. The indie God. Hats off to him.
Doc, what is your matches of the week?
I know I was just complaining about it, but all three are from Ring of Honor.
Yes.
Let them know.
I hated them, but they were the best.
So I don't remember who said it, but I agree with Action Andretti and Darius versus the Kingdom. That was great. A match I am shocked nobody else mentioned. Zack Sabre Jr. versus AR Fox.
I enjoyed the hell out of that one.
That was a ton of fun. But I think my top match of the week was Rey Fenix versus Gringo Loco. That was just so much fun to watch.
It was like a video game. It was literally like a video game. Gringo Loco has been amazing in Ring of Honor so far. The matchup with Kingo I thought was better, but this was just as good.
Yeah, it was just a ton of fun, and like the way Gringo Loco moves, it just doesn't seem like it should be possible.
Like shouldn't make sense for that guy's size.
Like, did any of you guys actually watch when La Parka was active in WCW?
Yes, I did.
Like La Parka wasn't a cruiserweight. Never. Like you could tell he wasn't 205 pounds or whatever. He was more than that, but like he moved around like a cruiserweight well enough, and they had that kind of body style. But Gringo Loco does it even better.
Full shoot. When I first discovered Gringo Loco, I thought it was a joke gimmick. Like no joke. I was like, he comes out, and I'm like, come on, this can't be real. And then I watched him wrestle, and the dude's phenomenal. I'm just saying, like, holy shit, the dude knows and then Rey Fenix is one of my favorites. So
well, like when I first saw him, I'm like, oh, it's actually a white guy. Is this a right. And then I was like, is this an El Generico tribute gimmick? Like, and then dude was just going crazy. I think the Vikingo match might have been the first time I actually watched a full match of his. I'd only seen like GIFs on Twitter, but yeah, that dude's nuts. So this week's ROH was a really good episode in terms of the action, but it still was crowded.
We still need to cut down on the matches just slightly, but
Yeah,
we'll do rapid fire here for Under Siege. They have a bunch of matches on this card, and it looked like a couple of really good ones. Starting with you, Pluggo, we'll start off with Nick Aldis making his official in-ring debut on Impact Plus. He's going one-on-one with Kenny King. Kenny King's been talking trash about him. Who you got, Pluggo?
This is Nick Aldis's match to win, right? Like that's the story. They're going Nick Aldis to Steve Maclin. This is what they want to do, but you got to get him a win. Shout out to Kenny King though for being an underrated pickup for Impact. Like he is the guy that you put in this spot to get your guys over to make them look good. So,
yeah, I agree. I'm going with Nick Aldis. Krssi Luv.
Nick Aldis for the win, friends.
Doc.
oh yeah, I mean he's not losing his first
unanimous.
match,
Yes.
Great television. We're all in agreement.
Trinity Fatu versus Giselle Shaw. I think this one is another one we're going to be all in agreement. You can't have Trinity lose this fast. I'm going with Trinity. Krssi Luv.
Trinity.
Doc.
Yeah, Trinity for sure.
I hate to go against my girl Giselle Shaw as an honorary quintessential diva myself, but it's Trinity.
I love it.
I love that.
6-man tag team action. The Design, Diener, Khan, and Alan Angels will face Sammy Callahan, Rich Swann, and a mystery partner. I think the mystery partner is going to be a member or a former member of OVE, Jake Crest, or one of the Crest brothers, whichever one isn't canceled. That one going to team up with Callahan. Whichever one isn't canceled. Versus it will team up with Callahan and Swann, and they'll get the win. Who do you got, Pluggo?
I will say I don't think it's Crest who's canceled. I do tend to like tune out Sammy Callahan stuff. He's just not for me. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, it'll be Sammy and Swann getting the one over on the Design.
Doc.
What match are we talking about? I don't know.
Team Sammy versus the Design.
I'll go with the Design because that's kind of a cool name for a tag team.
They are doing some good stuff. Diener is doing some really fun stuff. Like Sammy Callahan just doesn't do it for me, so I tend to like do other things while they're doing their thing.
I'm a Sammy Callahan fan because he gave me a good interview. He was energetic. So
I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. He's a great. He just doesn't do it for me.
I understand.
Kristen,
who you got?
This is the Design.
Impact Digital Media Championship. Joe Hendry will defend against Dirty Dango. Dirty Dango turned heel on Impact on Access TV, revealing that he attacked Santino. So who's walking out with the Digital Media Championship? I can't go against Joe Hendry, so I'm going with Joe Hendry. Doc, who you got?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Pluggo, who you got?
I'm going with Joe Hendry because justice for Santino. Justice for my guy Santino.
Krssi?
Same, Joe.
We're all going with Joe. Impact World Tag Team Championships. This should be really good. You got Chris Bay and Ace Austin, the ABC, defending the titles against the debuting subculture of Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, the former NXT UK Tag Team Champions, along with Danny Luna making their debut in Impact Wrestling. I'm going with the ABC. Who you got, Krssi Luv?
I want the ABC to win as well. I was like,
Doc?
I know the other guys are debuting, but fuck them.
Doc, so you got it.
Sorry.
I really didn't have any dog in the fight, but what Krssi said just totally convinced me.
Let me cross out my notes here and just say fuck them.
Pluggo, who you got?
I'm going with the ABC here because this is weird. Like we haven't seen any subculture interaction really, and like they have their hands full with the good hand. So, but ABC's on another run, next level run right now, and subculture, fuck them.
Apparently, let's put it all in our notes. Number one contenders matchup. You're gonna have Moose versus Eddie Edwards versus Jonathan Gresham versus Yuya Uemura versus Alex Shelley versus Frankie Kazarian. The winner gets a shot at the Impact World Championship. I'm going with Frankie Kazarian because they've been doing all these interviews for him. Doc, who you got?
I know nothing about what's going on, so I'm just gonna pick Gresham because I like Gresham.
That's fair. Pluggo, who you got?
I mean, Frankie Kazarian's the obvious number one contender of the number one contenders for this based on what they do. But I think Alex Shelley would be a lot of fun just for like a throwaway match with Macklin, just to have it. Like, because I think they're trying to keep the City Machine Guns kind of away from the tag picture for a little bit. So I could see Shelley sneaking one out here. I'm not super confident with it, but that's what I'm going to pick.
Krssi Luv?
See, I was going to pick Gresham, but I am going to pick, was it Shelley? The one at the end?
Shelley?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alex Shelley?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That is fair.
And I can't take Eddie Edwards because my wife said he looks like a can of Monster Energy drink. So I'm not going to
We
were watching
Edwards.
last night. Last night she goes, "Is he dressed like a can of Monster?" And I was like, "Yes."
So wait, who's in this match again?
Eddie Edwards, Yuya Uemura, Jonathan Gresham, Moose, Alex Shelley, and Frankie Kazarian.
Anyone but Moose.
That's also fair. Speaking of Alex Shelley, his Motor City Machine Guns tag team partner Chris Sabin will attempt to become a 9-time X Division champion as he goes one-on-one with Trey Miguel. I'm going with Trey Miguel in this one, despite Chris Sabin cutting a very good promo on Impact this week. Who you got, Pluggo?
I mean, he's Chris somewhere right now. Chris Sabin is still saying 9 time. Oh my! I was like, dude,
you could tell he was counting it in his head. Like,
the first time he did it, he definitely counted it out. And then in that promo, he's like, oh shit, I forgot one, and he ran out of breath. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think this match might steal the show on the card because Trey Miguel and Chris Sabin are going to do a fantastic job. I think it's Trey Miguel who's going to pull this out here, but it's going to be a banger. We're going to be looking back going, man, that was might have been match of the night.
Doc, who you got?
I can't go against Chris Sabin. Like, I've been such a fan of him for so long, with going back to like the original Impact stuff that I saw him doing. So I'll just kind of always root for him.
He's going to have a hell of a time getting that spray paint off that title, Doc. That's on there.
These are two guys that I've interviewed, so I have no horse in the race. I'm rooting for both of them, but I'm going with Trey Miguel. Sorry, Sabin. Who you got? Chrissy's going with Trey Miguel as well. And this is probably going to be Chrissy's match of the night right here. Impact Knockouts World Championship up for grabs. Deonna Purrazzo goes one-on-one with Jordynne Grace. If Jordynne Grace loses, she cannot challenge for the Impact World title as long as Deonna is champion. I'm going with Deonna Purrazzo to get the win in this one. And then probably Jordynne Grace going to cost her the title later on and turn heel, finally. But who you got, Krssi?
Deonna Purrazzo has to keep it. She has to win.
Pluggo?
I'm with you. I think it's Deonna. I think this is one of those underlining blessing in disguises of Mickey's injury, is like we opened up some pretty interesting things because this Trinity stuff, you could hotshot her to Deonna Trinity pretty quick. And then, like you said, I think Jordynne Grace doesn't need to challenge for this title anytime soon, so that'd be a cheap way to keep her out of the picture, but keep her in the picture. And eventually because Deonna and Jordynne Grace is like one of my favorite rivalries.
Yeah, they kill it every time.
So they could wrestle every day, and I'd be like, yep, sign me up. But it's
Doc,
Deonna.
Who you got in this one?
Deonna,
unanimous from all of us. And then
no love for the Juggernaut, man.
Finally, another one that I think we're going to be unanimous on. No disqualification. Impact World Championship up for grabs. Steve Macklin going one-on-one with PCO. You can't take the title off of Steve Macklin this soon, so I'm going with Macklin. Who you got, Doc?
You know what? Screw it. Give it to PCO.
Do it. Canadian national treasure PCO against a heel Army American Steve Macklin. That they couldn't have drew this up any better in Canada.
Pluggo, who you got?
It's Macklin. I mean, I love PCO, don't get me wrong, but this is a perfect, like, Scott Demore just throwing his heavy hitters at Macklin early. It's in Canada. He's going to get booed out the building, but ultimately get the job done.
And Krssi, who you got? You're muted, Krssi.
Sorry. My bad. The champ to retain.
So you're unanimous as well with Macklin retaining,
Macklin.
but Impact Under Siege will probably be doing a watch along next Friday Night Warriors watching Under Siege, SmackDown, and all that good stuff. So join us live for that. But that brings us to the end of this edition of Tru Heel Heat. Doc, thank you so much. Coming in last minute, coming in for the long haul, staying for the whole show. We appreciate you being our first special
Iron
guest
Man.
here, the Iron Man. Please let the people know, Doc, where they can follow you on social media. And even though you're not on screen, I'm giving you the spotlight with that beautiful Eddie Kingston picture.
Yes.
Yeah, this is another Mel Coleman piece. So the only social media that I really use is Twitter, which is at @BR_doctor. All my work is on Bleacher Report. And occasionally I'll pop up on other people's podcasts because I'm too lazy to do my own.
And we appreciate you for that, sir. Any interviews for the people to check out?
I haven't done one in a little while. I think we're waiting until after Double or Nothing. I don't think it's really a huge secret to talk about this, but AEW recently changed the person who handles all their media. So I think he's just taking a little bit of time to get settled in, and so I'm not like bothering him with any requests until he's got everything figured out, you know.
Thank you so much, Doc. We appreciate you. And Pluggo coming in, the pinch hitter, the closer for the show, special guest. Please let the people know where they can follow you.
First and foremost, thank you for having me. This was definitely a bucket list thing for me to be on here, so I appreciate you guys having me. You can find me at Pluggo_ on Twitter and at Pluggo Loves Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and what's that other one? TikTok. I always forget about that one. I don't do a ton over there, but anyway. And then you can find me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Love Wrestling at Love Wrestling CA, doing Between Two Beards with my amazing co-host JPJ. He's a Stone Cold Killer. We kill it every Thursday night. And also on Saturday mornings now for Exposure with Blair Pacheco of the Grainmaker podcast, talking about independent wrestling. I also have an interview with Jack Pride, the man of two minds, coming out on Love Wrestling's Patreon. That is all the stuff you can find me at for now. And then who knows, like Doc, I pop up here and there.
Awesome. Won't be the last time we have Pluggo or Doc on this show because they were great today. And Krssi Luv, you're here every other week. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media and what you got going on.
I was a chaperone. Stop it. Anywho, Krssi Luv _1 is on IG and Twitter. Twitter is Tru Heel Krssi Luv. Other than that, you can follow me by my name. I did an interview with Tom from Tom Talks Rubbish. So please check that interview out and go give it a likes and a subscribe to him. He's a very nice guy. Very good to talk to. Very cool. Other than that, Serving Face and Hills should be back. No, Roundtable is next week. So
tomorrow?
TPD.
Okay.
I'm available.
It depends. It depends on Stephanie Hype's condition. So we'll find out.
She's not feeling well. My tag partner is under the weather. So yeah.
We'll find out very, very soon.
Very soon. Other than that, I'm here every Saturday, 11:05 for Tru Heel Heat. I do watch-alongs. And yeah, next week's going to be a good one.
Saturday-ish. Yes. Next week's going to be a big one. We'll be here at 10:05 a.m. Eastern time because WWE Night of Champions starts at 1 p.m. So we'll be here 1 hour earlier for our... Yeah, we'll be here at 10:05. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you in the door. More exclusive content, plus much, much more. And join us live here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, our NJPW Resurgence watch along. We'll start a full week because we got the preview for Night of Champions coming up on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got a Battlegrounds preview for NXT. And then Friday, we got AEW Double or Nothing preview for all the wrestling going down next week. It's going to be a busy one. But thank you so much to all of our special guests, Scott E. Wrestling, Steven Jensen, Pluggo, and of course, the Iron Man, Doc Chris Mueller, and of course, Krssi Luv, the princess of all the Tru Heels. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 226, Punk's Steel Breaking Point. We are signing off until